Even, I mean, I've started. I've hit the record button.
You've hit the record button now.
But I ain't even opened up the the recording software yet.
God, you're not even ready, are you?
I'm not even ready. I've only just got the notes.
I'm the responsible
I only just
one
got
at
my
the
coffee.
moment. I've got all my I've been ready for
It's because it's a new
since
decade.
the last podcast.
That's an excuse. It's a new
It is a
decade.
new
It's a
decade.
new first one of the year.
Oh
Yeah, just getting warmed back up.
Oh, can't wait to hear what you think of Jojo about it.
Yeah. Right. Let's close some of these things down. Yeah, Austin's like, wait a minute. Well, we're
It's
early.
the Rumble this weekend as well.
Let's close down the Discord. The Rumble.
It's the Rumble this weekend. It's the Rumble
I thought the
tomorrow.
Royal Rumble was the end of the year. Is it now early in the year?
It's always January.
Okay.
It's always January. It's the road to WrestleMania.
Man, loop.
Out of the loop, man.
I don't want-
You are so out of the loop. You're a Netflixed. You're so Netflix. You're like, oh, have you watched?
No,
that
there's no
show?
wrestling on Netflix.
No, I'm watching Rumble. Jesus, man. Yeah, there's no wrestling. Well, there's that fight with the family, which I need to watch.
Yeah, that was very good.
Boom, boom,
That
boom,
was
boom,
very good.
boom. Get my fist bumps out now. Fist bumping all the chauffeurs.
So I think there's at least 3 in the audience right now. So that's something.
What
We know we're
up,
live.
Nella? What up, Campbell? What up, honey?
We just
What up,
need to
Matt
figure
Mitchell?
out that
What
the
up, boss?
audio's
What up,
on,
Tanya?
that the camera's on, that the
Yeah, can you
lighting's
hear
on,
us?
that the notes
Like-
are ready.
Yeah,
Is that even set to
standard
the?
stuff.
That is set to the right thing.
Like it's been a while because I wasn't in the December one.
Well, you
I
came
had that
into
night off.
the end bit, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I did the questions, but then
Yeah.
I was already tired and gamed out.
Right.
Yeah, just doing my part.
Well, that's all right because you're going to be making up for it
What up,
tonight.
TC Ho? What up, Ivana?
I'm sure these are all names you recognise.
A lot of them are, yes, from the streams during the week and the Facebook pages. Like, I'm on social media, it's scary.
Why?
Just like being out there. You have to be very careful. It's like
Yeah.
being in a minefield.
I got like 3 emails this week from Google, from YouTube, and from Microsoft, all telling me that my account's been hacked and that I need
not
to
me.
change it immediately. It was just like they sent me a message saying that too many people have logged into your YouTube channel. And I'm like, well, I must check it's still there.
Yeah.
No, it's still there. No one's deleting videos or uploading stuff they shouldn't be. I'm just like,
Yeah, people actually log in and go, oh.
yeah, but no, it's just a hack or a fraud email. Basically, it's basically
yeah. You shouldn't even open up them.
I shouldn't know if they go into my spam folder. But the thing is, when you see a Google or a Microsoft email in your spam folder, you're just like, well, best check.
No. If it's in spam, it's in there for a reason.
Well, it's because I get emails from them all the time, and sometimes it's legitimate, like it's a receipt or
Yeah.
it's a.
I thought like the email system put the highest priority. That's why you get all your spam ones in there. Like
Well-
I like the ones that come up and they just like, this is from your local like distributor,
Right.
and we are wanting to contact you. I'm like, you can't even tell me what company you are.
Right, you're in Bangladesh. Let you know. But no, yeah, you got to be careful with what emails, especially because they Photoshop the emblems and logos and they make it seem as authentic as the real thing.
Yeah.
But then they always just go, just click this link, and I'm just like, no, like you're in my spam folder. I'm not going to click that link and open you up somewhere else.
Yeah. Because then you have to download that link, and then it asks you to download this software, and then it wants to put the little shortcut on your desktop.
Yeah.
And then you can't do anything because that takes control.
And then it wants you to send it to 350.
Yeah, but that's the problem with like you PC users. You go down those rabbit holes.
Well, yeah, it's a PC.
I won't even
It's a
go
pretty
down.
good rabbit hole to go
I
down.
won't even go down the. I won't even go down like the Facebook rabbit holes. Like
Well, you just said you're a social media person. now.
3 scrolls. It's too far.
Three
3
scrolls.
scrolls and you're too far. 1, 2, 3, back up again.
Okay.
There's nothing more past 3
I was
scrolls.
just thinking of like scrolls, like ancient times.
Yeah, that's
you
that's
scroll
what
open
I'm
your
like.
Facebook.
That's mate. I'm kind of like, you know me. I'm well retro. Like people have been doing
Today in the year of our Lord,
like
Andrew Birch.
Dylan's coming up to me like, Dad, can we get on TikTok? And I'm like,
Oh no.
no.
Well,
But I'm like-
it's like the app for kids today, right?
Kids should not have
Facebook
apps.
is for the senior citizens now.
Kids should not have apps.
That's all it is now, Ian.
No, they shouldn't be.
That's all there is.
It's
The
not.
joke was there's an app for that. Yeah.
No.
There is.
Because the apps die, and then a new app takes place, and something else, and it just becomes a
And
rabbit
that's how
hole.
Skynet's built.
Or well, what was that other one? Legion.
Yeah.
That's how Legion.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
let's get this podcast ready.
Frack that film. Oh, get my tea ready.
How long do you think it'll be before we bring it up? Before it gets brought up?
What, Dark Fate?
Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting for what's his face? Is it Jay? Actually, I think it's Jay Hines who loves Rev 9, so he'll probably bring up like, "Hey guys, what do you think of the Rev 9?" Lyndon and I were actually talking that we are just going to buy it.
Well, yeah.
Because it has to be in the collection.
Was it because it's the only Terminator film you don't own?
Yeah, because it has to be in the collection. But I also... No, I'm not going to bring it up. I haven't even started yet.
Are you already bringing that up? See? I didn't think we'd get very 9. Jay Hines also says, Rev 9!
Rev 9!
Very loudly. Yes.
Yeah.
Very...
So...
Oh, dear. All right. I think we're good to go. I think that's the pre-show banter.
It's that pre-show. It's just normally how we talk.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna get the Blu-ray.
But I gotta make it all legitimate. And
It's a Blu-ray.
hello, and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews podcast number 38.
Number 38!
Today, we're going to catch up on the recent films and TV shows we've watched before going over the latest film news.
Yes.
In the second part, we're going to be discussing the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, in the third part, of course, we're going to be answering your questions.
Yes.
Iain, it's the first podcast of the decade.
Oh man, first podcast of 2020.
We don't have a guest.
It's like a future. Well, yeah. I know. I said this when we were talking about making up a new theme for the next podcast, and obviously we'd done our top 10 for Christmas.
You mentioned Metal Gear, and everyone just went.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, I want to do it. I want to do a theme. I want to do a Metal Gear Solid theme. And I knew as soon as I could, I'd have to research it, look into it, understand it, and there's a lot to squash into an hour.
Right.
So
yes.
I just knew if I had either Andy or Dave here, somebody would make a silly joke or a tangent that we would go off on, and I wouldn't even get half my information in before we were just like...
Sure.
So I was like, nope. Camera's on me.
William, let's have a catch up.
Yes.
Have you been watching or playing anything recently?
Well,
other than
Red Dead Redemption.
Redemption.
I know. I've kind of just been playing Red Dead Redemption. I did get to watch The Revenant. I finally watched that.
Very good.
For the
very
first
good.
time. That was amazing.
That was DiCaprio's Oscar-winning moment.
Yeah, and you could tell it was well worth it.
Yeah.
Well, just like the camera work was beautiful, the landscape was beautiful. The story, Tom Hardy, just all the characters, DiCaprio, the bear. I was just like, man, this I could easily just watch sequences of that film, and fall asleep to it because of the rivers and the wind.
Right.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I did catch up with a few of the Stone Cold sessions on the WWE Network. If you haven't seen those, he spoke to The Undertaker.
Right.
But actually Mark Calloway. So it was just awesome to kind of hear two friends who have been hanging out for obviously years and wrestled in many, many matches just chatting about their history.
It's really weird to see Mark Calloway and not The Undertaker.
Yeah, but no, I follow him on Facebook. So for years I've known him as like, he's not the undead guy that you see on screen.
He's not the American badass, but it's just weird to disassociate him with a character that's been there all this time.
Well, I think this the interview he did with Austin is also their way to kind of pave towards the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Like I'm feeling like I feel like a lot of people probably feel the same. It's coming up to that time. If you're a wrestling fan, that he should hang it up. You don't want him to, but they kind of have to. Yeah. So this was kind of a way of him. He actually sits there in the interview and he's like, it gets around to like November time and my body's dying.
Right.
But then I get the phone call from Vince, and then February's rolling around and he's in the gym, training, punching that punch bag because that's what he enjoys. That's what he does. The interview he had with Goldberg was brilliant. And Austin just recently done one with Kane, who's obviously a mayor of a town in America. So
that's story or in real
in real life. In real life,
and he's still wrestling.
No, he's not retired, but he's just stepped back. But he ran for.
I was going to say, because doesn't Kane wear a mask? So it's like, does everyone know that their town mayor is Kane?
Yeah, because he used it. He actually used it to actually get signed in. You know, everybody was a wrestling fan,
right?
And I think it's his hometown actually as well. And so they were just all behind him. So there's pictures of him like with the mask on, going to rallies and holding up signs and selling it on screen. So that was all good. Yeah, like 257 days on Red Dead Redemption. I put forward my application for the Guinness Book of World Records.
Very good, very good.
So that's in the pipeline. It's gonna take 12 weeks though for them to
process the application.
12 weeks.
Well, apparently they get a lot of applications.
Yeah,
every day.
For like £5, you can do it for 12 weeks. For like £600, you could get it done in 5 days.
Well,
and
yeah.
I'm like,
well, there's people there working, so yeah, it's pay to prioritize.
Yeah, I couldn't say that to Linda. It's like, oh yeah, I've got £600. I'm just gonna check my list to see if there's anything else. Linda's been watching movies on Netflix as I've been coming home from work on Fridays, which has been really cool. I watched a film last week with Sam Worthington in called Fractured.
Yes.
Did you see it?
Yeah, very good.
Man, that was pretty good. And Sam Worthington, I know he got a lot of hate from like Avatar and Terminator Salvation, Man on a Ledge.
He's almost as bland as Jai Courtney.
But I think it's because he did so many films at once.
Yeah.
And then he was just lost. That now I watched him again.
Terminator, Avatar,
Clash of the Titans,
all in 1 year.
Yeah.
It was just like
But then seeing him come back for this, I was like, oh yeah, I remember you. I could watch you again. It was quite a cool story. I
think Hollywood's getting us ready for Sam Worthington because like Avatar 2, 3 and 4 is about to come out, so it's just like
in those?
Well, he's in all of them.
Well, but he's not really
well, it's still him, isn't it? He still plays it and it's all
unless obviously it
computerized on top of him.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We watched In the Shadow of the Moon last night. Okay, time travel.
No, wait a minute. Okay, carry on.
Time travel, right? It's about a detective who's investigating some murders.
I have seen this, yeah.
And there's a girl involved.
And is it the people when they've got like punctured like necks and their skulls or their brains are bleeding out of their faces?
They bleed from every orifice.
Yeah.
And he's trying to investigate. It was a really good idea and a really great concept, but
yeah,
it dark fated me. You know, I was sat there at the end like racking my brain, exactly trying to fully understand how the time travel, sorry, spoilers, worked so that it all kind of made
time travel
sense.
Works differently in lots of different time travel movies.
Yeah, I know that. So, I've seen Avengers as well and Back to the Future and Bill and Ted, but it all makes sense in its own.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't very good though, was it? It was just okay,
The film was all right, It
was just all
Netflix
right.
standard. Anything on Netflix is like all right.
Well,
nothing's amazing.
Yeah, it was just fine.
Yeah, the time travel thing was quite cool.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a furry story to tell, actually. Yeah. So, you know about furries?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, man.
Which is why I'm really uncomfortable. Like, how do you have a furry story?
How do I have a furry story? Right, well, this is it. Obviously, I work at the weekends in a certain establishment in our hometown, which I can't say where, but I clean for a living. And today was a very quiet day. I'd finished off early. I was getting my stuff ready, and I was walking back to the security office, which I have to go to drop off my keys every night.
Okay.
And as I'm walking back over to there, I turn around this corner and there are like 8 furries walking down the road in front of me, talking like full on outfits, the feet, with the paws, and the mask. There was one with this like massive huge tongue running down his body, like big fluffy tails. Like we live in Plymouth, the ass end of nowhere, I've only ever seen furries on TV or whatnot, and here are 8 of them walking down, like
heading towards the local dogging spot.
Well, this is it. I'm like, And one of them waves at me like that. And I had my headphones in. I was just listening to some music, and I noticed that there was this guy as well.
You were listening to music, because otherwise it would have just sounded like China.
Yeah. Well, I noticed this guy as well with like a camera in front of them, like taking photos. But it was starting to rain.
But you were at the uni as well, so I'm just thinking it was probably part of an art stunt.
Dude,
or
I don't know. But when
somebody was shooting a film,
when this furry waved at me, and all the other furries just carried on walking into town. I just laughed I burst into laughter, and I walked to the security office, and I'm still laughing, and the security guy's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I just pointed.
Just like, check the cameras, check the cameras.
He shouted to his mate.
It turns out there was nothing there.
Check the camera. And they look at the camera, and the guy operating the cameras, because you see him, he just starts bursting out of laughter. He's like, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "Furries, mate. Don't worry. People just have weird hobbies." But
furries, man, they creep me out.
Yeah, furries, man. Like, my mind was like, it's raining. You're gonna totally ruin those 150 down suits. People moan at me for just playing Red Dead Redemption. At least I'm not.
Yeah, a furry.
Yeah. So, there you go. Follow that guy.
That's no, I can't. I can tell you what I did watch.
Yes.
And what might possibly already be my favourite film of the year so far.
You say that like 3 times a week. Though.
Yeah. Everything. As soon as I'd watch it, I'm like, that's the best thing ever. Guys, go check this out. Jojo Rabbit.
Oh yes, Jojo Rabbit.
It was something that I mentioned in the last podcast. I was really looking forward to.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Taika Waititi.
Yes.
Kind of follow his career. But this film stars Roman Griffin Davis and Thomasin McKenzie, as well as Scarlett Johansson and Sam Rockwell.
Yes, and Taika Waititi.
And Taika Waititi himself as Adolf Hitler. So if you don't know the story, it's a World War II satire that follows a lonely German boy named Jojo.
Yeah.
And his worldview gets turned upside down when he discovers that his single mother is actually hiding a Jewish girl in their attic.
Yes.
And of course, Jojo has an imaginary friend
who
just happens to be Adolf Hitler.
Well, he's joined the local child SS group.
Yeah, the Nazi youth Hitler club.
And so he's kind of being told as well.
So he's full nationalism, like all about the
Jews
German
are bad.
way.
Let's burn everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but he kind of. I don't want to go into spoiler territory.
But
it is a comedy film, but it's not barrel laughs. It's just kind of quirky, offbeat. It provokes your sensibilities, but it does it in a really grounded and really thoughtful way, as well as being very satirical. It's one of those really well placed films that knows its subject matter.
Obviously, I haven't watched it yet. I've only seen the trailers, but I did wiki it as soon as I had the chance, because I'd been watching I'd been waiting for this film as soon as I'd seen the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is the trailer that just immediately made me fall in love with everything that Taika Waititi does and says and whatever, because. Like, up to that point, I love Thor Ragnarok. Right. I absolutely love it, but I hadn't seen What We Do in the Shadows and some of his other productions. And so as soon as I saw the trailer for Jojo Rabbit, I was like, what the? Who has the balls nowadays to dress up as Adolf Hitler and dance and sing willingly around a small boy? He's a New Zealander. Pulling off a German accent. You got Sam Rockwell in there, Scarlett Johansson.
Sam Rockwell, he steals the show.
Again.
Scarlett Johansson is just amazing in the role as well.
Obviously, I wikied it and read what happened, and by the end of reading it, I was like, my God, if I watch this film, it's gonna.
Oh yeah, this film really hits you in lots of unexpected ways.
Yeah,
it's really great experience though. It was really well done.
I'm gonna get that on DVD and Joker on DVD and just sitting down watching both.
Yeah,
and not know if to laugh, cry, or just.
Yeah, but I mean, I can see why Disney didn't want to produce or co-finance Jojo Rabbit, because obviously they've got Taika Waititi under their kind of Disney embrace right now. Like, they won't let him do anything without.
I mean, wasn't Walt Disney a Nazi anyway?
Well,
So,
but,
like-
yeah, but Disney don't really want to, support that image right
Well,
now, do
yeah.
they? Exactly. So they want to go making a
secretly-
movie about Hitler.
Secretly, they're supporting it.
Okay,
they
I
allowed
don't
him-
know about the
yeah,
inner workings of Disney. I don't care to comment.
It's the Patriots, mate. It's the Patriots.
So Jojo Rabbit was really good.
Cool. Nice.
But something that I had to wait until sort of over the new year because I didn't get to watch it and binge it as much as I wanted to.
Oh, yeah. I get to talk to you about this.
The Witcher TV series. I'd been hyped for it all throughout last year. After only watching the first trailer, I was just like, I'm sold. I don't need to see any more trailers. I'm just going to absorb the whole thing.
That's the thing with Superman, isn't it?
It is, yeah, that thing with Superman in. Yeah. But it now has a sitting of 8.4 on IMDb after its like 9.9 opening
That's
weekend.
still amazing.
It is amazing.
You know.
The series creator is Lauren Schmidt.
Right.
She was a producer on Daredevil and Umbrella Academy.
Oh.
Those were like the last couple of things she worked on
Man,
before.
Umbrella Academy was a...
Oh yeah, she's done a fantastic job of bringing The Witcher to Netflix.
Yeah.
Especially as well when you consider it was a trilogy of games.
Yeah.
And those games have had a lasting impression on the entire world. Of all the gamers that have played it, it's like all these characters and lore has all been established.
Yes.
But now, of course, you're going to take. But the games themselves are based on the books. This TV show is also based on the books, and so it's slightly different interpretations. But it's also going back in time to before the games.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there to unpack and explore within the series.
Do you think they're doing like their own version of what The Walking Dead did? Is that they're
not changing anything right now. Nothing really. Nothing major.
Nothing really.
Nothing major. No.
No.
Like all the major characters are there. No one's done anything different.
Oh right. So everything is.
They've not gender swapped anybody. Or...
No. I'm not saying gender swap. I mean, like, have they condensed any stories into like smaller things? So. Oh,
No.
You don't need those three characters but this character basically does. No,
not yet. No, but
I
I
have no idea.
One of the complaints about the first season is that it obviously the show time jumps.
Yeah.
and it doesn't hold your hand when it does it. It doesn't come up with the year. at the
Linda
bottom corner.
watched it. Like, my wife binge watched the Witcher series before he even watched it, and I'm like, it must be so easy to follow,
digest.
and digest. Where I when you were talking about the Witcher TV series, I was the same. I'm like, there's all the games, there's all the books. How are they going to do this?
Yeah.
And then hearing it from Linda, where she's just like, I really enjoyed it. I loved it. All the sword fights, all the singing. I was just like, wow. Anybody could easily just watch season 1. They're easily going to get season 2, and then just kind of not expand the story, I suppose. Just kind of, you want to tell the story you've already told. I don't know. I haven't even played the games. I couldn't get past the combat system.
Right.
Couldn't get past the combat system. It was flashback all over again.
Combat system was just Batman.
Don't
just a Batman fighting system.
Judge me.
There's only one button to press. One button to attack.
I know, but I think at the same time it was because of the world as well.
Yeah.
The world of The Witcher is so massive and immersive. At the time, I couldn't take that dive. I couldn't take the time with it and spend the time to learn the whole game, so I just put it away and just never went back. And probably after Red Dead, I might have to Red Dead.
Well, the thing is, there are more people playing The Witcher this year than there were when the game came out 7-8 years ago.
Yes.
And that's because of the TV show. They are mass printing and reproducing the books again.
Yeah.
Because the demand for it outstripped retail.
Yeah.
So that there was none left.
Men are just dyeing their hair and
Dyeing their hair
shaving their
white.
beards and what's that bloody song? Everybody knows the song and I don't know it. Go on, sing it.
No.
All right.
No, because it'll get stuck in my head throughout the rest of the podcast, so you won't hear nothing else.
Like Penny for Your Witcher or something like that?
Penny for your Witcher.
Penny for Your Witcher. All right, okay. Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Right. Henry Cavill, though, he's just nailed it as Geralt of Rivia.
He's a great actor.
Great actor. I mean, I didn't realize how much he went out of his way to make sure he got that role. Like even before, like he kept telling his producers, his boss, just like, whenever you hear of anybody who's making the Witcher TV show or movie or anything, make sure you hit me up. Make sure I get an audition for it.
Yes.
And so the moment he got wind that there was something over at Netflix, so he was just there, like on the phone every week, like
shaving his face, dyeing his hair.
What's the development? What's happening? How's it progressed? Have we got a script? When's the set? He just every week just kept.
He needed to get something.
And of course they auditioned a whole load of
people.
people, and eventually they had to cast him. He'd practiced it over and over again, and not only that, he was a gamer. He's played the games, read the books.
You can tell that from the fight sequences. He's him spinning the sword. Like, this is probably going to sound harsh, but I'm not being harsh. But like, when I watch the game doesn't seem 100% complete. When I watch the game, there seem to be like little glitchy moments in like the cut sequences or the combat system or something.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, when I watched a couple of sequences of the TV show, like in the fight sequences, that seemed to happen.
Right.
Like the CGI, like there was one point where he's fighting like 6 guys in the middle of a street, and he stabs one of them in the jaw, I think.
Yeah.
And it looked like Uncanny Valley.
Okay.
But immediately my brain went, "Hey, it's just like the game."
Sure. The production values are there in the costumes and in the sets. Some of the CGI creatures, like the dragon and one of the monsters, looks a little bit wonky. Like,
screw that. We went through Game of Thrones. Like, Witcher's going to make
Game of Thrones' CGI just got better and better throughout the 8 years. I'm sure The Witcher. I'm sure it's going to get a little bit more money after the success it's had.
Yeah.
But I was another thing with Geralt with Henry Cavill was that when they got the costume and it was all new. And and he knows the character. He's supposed to have worn this for years, for decades.
Yeah.
And it looks brand new. So the actor took his entire outfit home and lived in it just to wear it, so that it would. So when he brought it in onto set to film, it was used.
Imagine going into your front room and then
Henry Cavill
Henry Cavill just sat there on his phone, like.
Yeah, right.
But that's amazing.
Yeah, but no, he did such a good job. I was so impressed by it. Like like for a moment I was like, I need to fan mail. I need to find his address and send him a message and say, "You're amazing."
Oh, see, I did say
to you. I got control over myself, and I was like, no.
I did say to you, didn't I? For his Christmas this year, I'm going to get you that picture of Henry Cavill in the bath.
Geralt in the bathtub.
Geralt in the bath of Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
just go above your bed.
Yeah, I'll put it up.
I'll laminate it for you.
Sometimes I can get one of Yennefer on the other side, and then there's balance.
Oh yeah, the female characters. Yeah.
But no, Witcher TV series was great, fantastic. Can't wait for season 2. But other than that, I have been addicted to a little game called Total War Warhammer 2, which if you don't know what it is a turn-based strategy, real-time tactics video game developed by Creative Assembly.
Yes.
And, of course, published by Sega. And this one is set in Games Workshop's Warhammer universe.
Yes.
So it's the elves and the Skaven and the Dark Elves.
Taking in all the money there from you gamers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Total War series of games has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, but if you don't want to buy an army from Games Workshop and paint it and roll the dice, you can just buy the game.
You can just buy a 20 quid DLC and have an entire army all painted and animated with sound effects. And
that's the way to do it,
yeah.
Man, I've been seeing you play this game, and I was just, it made me laugh because you've gone through quite a few games up to this point. And then you just kind of just chill, This is like your chill period with just turn-based strategy, conquering this foe, and yet round the corner you're just waiting. For Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, so long as it doesn't get delayed, unlike Cyberpunk.
Has that been delayed again?
It's September now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I lost track of Cyberpunk. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Oh, Cyberpunk," and I'm like, Doom.
Yeah.
Doom's coming.
Yeah.
I'm playing Red Dead anyway. Oh, but Cyberpunk's coming. Oh no.
But no. So yeah, as long as Resident Evil's out in April? Was it April 20th?
No, I think it's April 4th.
Or April 4th.
Doom's March. Final Fantasy 7 is March, and Resident Evil is April. Start of April.
Right.
So
Yeah. But the reason why I'm back into Total War Warhammer was because I actually tried installing Warhammer Dark Omens.
Right. Okay.
Which is a the same type of game, but back from like 1997, 98, I think. It's an old CD-ROM game.
Is that before or after Shadow of the Horned Rat?
Before, I think.
Okay.
Or around the same time.
Right. Yeah.
So it was an old school 3D, real-time strategy game. But after like 6 hours, I just couldn't get it to work.
You just got to say bye then.
Yeah, but I wanted it to be a Gaming Friday as well. But it's just not working, not happening.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, let me see if I can get Kingdom Under Fire working, because it's a Gaming Friday I've wanted to do since we started. But I don't have the original Xbox here anymore.
Yeah.
It's not backwards compatible on any of the other Xboxes. It was only ever released on Xbox.
Yep.
So there's no emulation for original Xbox, and when there is, the games don't work properly.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is a YouTuber who's trying to emulate Kingdom Under Fire, and sometimes like all the units are invisible, and it's just their shadows moving around in the grass. Yeah. You're like, you can't play that. No. Like, why would you? You just can't play that. And so I love the Kingdom Under Fire games.
You did. You went through like.
There was like three of them.
Yeah.
And then that was it. The franchise had a game released on the 360 that was a shadow of its voice. It was Kingdom Under Fire in name only.
Right.
It was awful. It wasn't a real-time strategy game. It was more like a linear hack and slash.
Yeah.
And then the franchise has been gone ever since. And then there was news of Kingdom Under Fire 3. And it came out in South Korea.
Yeah.
Where it was developed and released same as the others. And that game released 10 years ago in South Korea, or maybe even however long ago it was, 20 years ago.
Okay.
And time has passed, seasons have changed, and it's like the legacy of Duke Nukem, like getting this game out there.
Don't you drag Duke Nukem into this?
It's a game that people wanted, that was just like, yeah, it's being made, it's out, it's
in
just
Korea.
Not finished, it's just in Korea, right? But the game came out last year, finally, to Europe and America.
Yeah.
And it was awful. Kingdom Under Fire 3. Awful. Shite. Because it's using the same game engine as fucking
the previous
10 years ago. No, not even. Well, it's
the hack and slash one or the turn-based unit one?
It's like original World of Warcraft engine.
Ooh.
It's just the most old school RPG online game with the open world battle system. I was just like, you killed it. Like, this is. You've just dragged out this old horse and released it and gone, this is new. Buy the DLC. I was like, oh no.
Did you buy this game?
No.
Oh, thank God. Fucking hell.
I ummed and ahed about it. I watched like 6 hours of video content.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like Angry Joe. Like,
how much is it being sold for?
Like 30 quid. Yeah, and it's like a 10-year-old game. It's just like, no, I'm not going to do it. No. Like, release Kingdom Under Fire 4. Go on, make that one. Release that. Then I'll be interested. And so because all of that was shit, I'm playing Total War Warhammer 2, which gives me kind of what I want. It's not giving me the full story that Kingdom Under Fire would have.
Yeah.
But it's still the Warhammer mythology.
And turn-based strategy.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying that.
Nice.
You guys have to excuse me for one moment. I need to blow my nose.
Oh, well, I'll just sit here while he blows his nose. Anything else? Oh, it's the Royal Rumble this weekend, actually, at the time of this podcast recording. My picks, quickly, while he does his thing. The ladies, I'm expecting Nia Jax to come back for the female Royal Rumble and win it, because she's been out for a while, injured, my girl Nia Jax. Either that or Alexa Bliss. I mean, she's always a good one to land on. Works quite hard. For the men's, I'm hoping Drew McIntyre, because he's had a serious push recently, and it'll be the first time a Scotsman wins. No, well, I mean, Sheamus won it, but he's from Northern Ireland, I think it is.
Right.
But probably Randy Orton will probably take it. Triple H will make a surprise entrant. Maybe The Undertaker. Brock Lesnar, though, the champ, is entering at number 1.
Oh, well, I mean...
Yes.
Why is he in the Rumble when he's
because he's Brock Lesnar? He's Brock Lesnar. You know, people go, "Oh, we hate Brock Lesnar. He doesn't show up," and then he shows up, and he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, and he's going to get thrown out by somebody. Drew McIntyre is going to kick his head off and win and there's going to be a face-off at WrestleMania.
Maybe so.
Yeah,
maybe so.
So.
Well, with that, shall we get into the news?
Yes, let's get into some news.
Well, sadly, we've got like 3 deaths to talk about.
Yes, yes. I got my notes ready.
Now I know you have one, but
you start.
I want to mention that Syd Mead passed away at the age of 86. Syd Mead was a visual futurist who created the look and design of many of the great sci-fi movies to date. He created V'ger for Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Carbon Lifeform.
He worked on Tron.
Nice.
Then he worked on Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And then he designed like all the vehicles. And then James Cameron picked him up to work on Aliens, you know, where he created the dropship and helped the design of the look of all of these different films.
That man
literally just painted it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then took it to Cameron and they just created it.
Made it look so real.
So he was a truly talented artist. He worked on Mission Impossible movies. He worked with Neil Blomkamp. He even returned and worked on Blade Runner 2049.
That's a really good film. I like it.
I mean, well, they wanted to copy almost exactly what the original one did, so they got the original designers back.
Nice.
But yeah, he was a legend in his field. Science fiction, he always said, is reality ahead of schedule. Yeah. But yeah, so it's very sad. Very sad.
Just hits you like right there.
Yeah, well, when he created some of those props, you know, he envisioned them. It came from his head.
And just then think the next time you sit there and watch just that dropship come down and
the wings
missiles,
poke. Yeah,
you know, some guy sat there and just made that model up.
Well, he didn't make the model, but he painted it for somebody then to go and make the model.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always sad. But usually those that are so far behind the scenes, they don't usually get a mention.
No.
Yeah.
Feature.
Not as much as this guy who was behind the camera, in front of the camera, and has been for 77 years.
Yeah.
Terry Jones passed away after a 5-year battle with dementia. Of course, Terry Jones was a member of the comedy group Monty Python.
Yeah.
And together they pretty much ushered in a wave of absurd comedy TV that's kind of never been beaten. You know, with films like The Life of Brian, The Holy Grail, and The Meaning of Life, which Terry Jones actually directed. The Meaning of Life.
It really hit me hard when I read that Terry Jones had passed, because immediately I was trying to think of parts that he played.
Yeah.
And immediately I thought of the mum from
Brian.
Life of Brian,
Yeah.
you know, doing the sequence, you know, he's a very naughty boy. And then immediately, straight after that, my mind went, holy shit, you know, Graham Chapman was the first one of them to actually pass. So Brian and his mum are now in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. But I didn't realise that he was also the guy who wrote the screenplay for Labyrinth, the Jim Henson classic.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he played the which character did he play in? Holy Grail. He's the one who's doing the witch hunt. She turned me into a newt.
Yeah.
Like,
So, I mean, he had so many parts.
Yeah.
So many parts in all of the Monty Python characters. He'll always be remembered as a titan.
I can't wait for his funeral just to see if they make it as funny as they did the.
They'll do the funny walk with the coffin.
Or if you know, like at what point do you think John Cleese will be like, well, I really hope they don't play that fucking song again,
right?
You know, because I don't know.
Well, John Cleese was just like, what, 2 down, 4 to go?
Yeah.
Which is very sad.
That was sad.
Yeah.
We also had we lost Rocky Johnson, the Soul Man, Dwayne the Rock Johnson's father. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you probably already knew this, but he's one of the first African American black tag teams in the WWF,
right?
With Tony Atlas, and just like with Terry Jones, you know, I read it on my Facebook and was like, oh my god, that's devastating. And then when I read this, I was like, oh my god, that's even more devastating, because I kind of follow The Rock, you know, not massively, but you know, he's always on social media so much, promoting some new film or some new TV show, you know, promoting his own positive outlook on life and saying, like, you know, we've just got to keep going. And as soon as I read about his dad passing on January 15th, it was like the most electrifying man in sports entertainment or in entertainment alone is just going to just stop.
Yeah.
You know? And I said to Linda at the time when I read it, I was just like, he's going to be a blubbering mess for a couple of days. And then The Rock put out this awesome honoured message to his dad, you know, and I was listening to it and it was like 9 minutes long, and all I could think was, if my son could say half the stuff The Rock says about his dad, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't really know them personally. Like, they probably go through the same trials as all families, but you know, it was just wrestling fan out there. Another one gone to the big ring up in the sky, and this one was a bit closer because, you know, it was the people's champ's dad.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I actually, I was just scrolling through, I think I was on Reddit or something, and there was a video that somebody had put up, and it was Rock's dad in the ring and Rock and him in the audience.
With him in the audience, with his afro-like hair.
Yeah,
and
I'm just like,
that was
tiny little Johnson.
The Rock, The Rock had actually posted that up. He said, this is 14-year-old me in the ring, and it's on a WWF show. Yeah. You know, so it's like, oh my God. The people's champ is like right there watching his dad. And
just like, amazing. But then afterwards I found out that his father had died, and I was just like, oh, it breaks your heart, but it's life.
Yeah. Always look on the bright side, they say.
They do indeed. And speaking of musicals and looking on the bright side,
I was wondering where you're going with that.
This segue into this next news piece is that the Karate Kid is transcending barriers once more and yet again, because Karate Kid is now heading to Broadway.
Like a knight in shining armor.
That's right.
That's how they're going to do it.
Karate Kid, the musical.
Wow.
The film's original screenwriter, Robert Mark Kamen, is writing the adaptation along with Drew Gasparini, whilst Eamon Miyamoto will oversee the entire production. And Miyamoto went on to say that he was inspired to do a stage adaptation of The Karate Kid because it tells a story we need in this age of division as our society becomes increasingly globalized. And the sweet contradiction of The Karate Kid is that the real nature of karate is, as the show says, not for attack, not to hurt, not to win, but to let opposing energies play out and come in grace to a conclusion that allows dignity and respect for all.
Yeah, but that's all right. But Danny LaRusso illegally kicks Johnny in the face at the end and wins and takes his girlfriend from him. We know this because it's canon.
Yeah. But now we can sing about it too.
I cannot wait for the wax on, wax off song.
There's going to be a wax on, wax off song. There's going to be a sweep the leg song.
Sweep the leg. No.
There's going to be a do the bonsai.
You think he's going to like slap his hands together and chase him around the stage?
There's going to be a chopstick song.
Then they'll do Karate Kid 2, you know, Karate Kid 3, The Quest for Peace.
And then it'll be Cobra Kai the musical. I mean, there's probably just going to be a musical episode in Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I mean, I want to buy his whole message about, you know, this, but honestly, who's going to take their kids to go see Karate Kid the musical? Unless you're into musicals.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of sounds to me like, oh man, I need to make some money off the Karate Kid, and nobody's picking up the newest TV show yet. Well, they did, but it was free on YouTube because nobody subscribed. So,
I mean, you got to be thinking, if you're the guy who created Karate Kid, you're doing all right. You know, you created one film that spawned 2 sequels. A sidequel, a remake, a TV series, and now a Broadway show. I was like, Karate Kid's done right for itself.
Do you think he copyrighted Crane Kick as well?
I doubt it.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
Next in the news, though, we have that The Witcher at Netflix is going anime.
What, the TV show that we've just watched is going anime?
No. But a feature film titled The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf is coming to Netflix.
Is Henry Cavill doing the voice of
It's Geralt? Expected that he will be, yeah.
Right, okay.
No one really knows exactly when in the timeline it's going to be set.
Yeah.
So that will explain which characters can or cannot turn up depending on the time frame of this anime, but if their characters are alive at that point in time, they'll be in the anime. So no spoilers.
Well, the guy who does the voice for Geralt in the game, you know.
See, he would be just as great to do the voice for the anime as well.
Yeah. It's weird because I immediately did like a whole David Hayter thing in my head of with the whole Metal Gear theme, because
once you have a voice for a character, it's very hard to.
Yeah, and when you have a face as well, you know, especially now that like Henry Cavill is Geralt, even though Geralt is Geralt, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah, I just hope that because I want more Geralt. I mean, last weekend you and me were saying you're playing The Witcher 3. It was just like, I need more Witcher.
You say playing? We watched like a 40-minute cut sequence because you were on the final battle.
Well, the mid battle.
I was like, oh sweet, I'm gonna watch him play and fight people. No, cut sequence after cut sequence, and they were really great.
Well, I got to kill a bunch of the.
Mark Hamill died, didn't he?
Oh, Vesemir, right?
Yeah,
spoilers.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah, everyone wants Mark Hamill to be cast as Vesemir.
Yeah.
But Mark Hamill's like, who's that? Who's Vesemir?
Yeah, well, he's pretty much like Luke Skywalker, isn't he? He's just an
pretty much. He's the Obi-Wan of the show.
Yeah.
Of the story.
What up, Zane?
But either which way, there's an anime coming, and hopefully it'll be on Netflix this year, because it's expected that Witcher Season 2 won't be out until 2021.
That's fine. It's only next year.
Well, yeah, but it's January right now, so it's a lot further away.
All right, calm down. Jesus.
Give me more.
like a crack addict sometimes.
I know. I want to binge watch all 10 seasons tomorrow. I can.
Do you imagine a Netflix that actually injects into you?
Right.
You need a Netflix.
You just download the whole lot of Netflix.
Yeah.
I like The Matrix.
You live it. That'd be awesome.
Well, next bit of film news we have, and I'm going to keep bringing up this coverage of it until it happens.
Right.
Much like we were, I always break the story. Is that Evil Dead news?
Okay. Yeah.
Whenever there's Evil Dead news, we want to bring it up. But I reminded myself when I was reading this, I was like, we've gone nowhere. Like, nothing has changed. Like, before we had Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And we had Evil Dead 1, 2, 3, and then it was like, hey Sam, when's the next Evil Dead? Hey Bruce, when's the next Evil Dead? And then they gave us the remake.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, hey Sam, when's the next Evil Dead? Hey Bruce, when's the next Evil Dead? And they gave us 3 seasons.
Yeah, and they said there's no more.
And then they said no more, and now we're just like, hey Sam, when's the next Evil Dead?
Yeah.
Hey Bruce, when's the next Evil Dead? Nothing's changed.
Well, obviously it done. I said this at the time, people get so excited about it, then they give it to us, then it gets cancelled, and then they come back.
Yeah.
Because it's Battlestar Galactica all over again. It always happened, it always will. But I thought this news was that Bruce Campbell was signing for the new Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah, possibly.
The
Kevin Smith and Bruce Campbell, they were talking to each other over Twitter, which was quite funny.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh man, I haven't seen Bruce Campbell in anything for ages.
It's because Kevin Smith wanted Stan Lee. And obviously Stan Lee's not there anymore because in Clerks 3, the character idolizes Stan Lee.
Brody.
So now that Brody can't have Stan Lee, Brody's next idol is Bruce Campbell. So they need to have Bruce Campbell in to do the Stan Lee role instead.
Yeah, which I'm totally up for.
I'm pretty sure that's how it'll happen. I'm pretty sure that it'll go that way.
I need to buy season 3 of Ash vs Evil Dead to put in my collection.
Sure.
I almost contemplated watching the remake about 2 weeks ago, but then I you know how it happens. You stupidly run through the sequences through your head, and I was like, do I really want to watch that girl get her head smashed in by that guy with the glasses?
Yeah, but the nail gun bit's really amazing.
Yeah, but he gets like really messed up, like. And for what? I'd rather watch Scotty get messed up again. But I'm.
Well, you don't really see it. It kind of happens off screen.
Well, I've got the comic. Yeah, but I've got the comic book, haven't I? Which extends it. So
the movie.
If I read the comic book at the exact same time as I'm watching the first movie, and then the second and third, but so much Evil Dead to watch. So much Evil Dead.
Just want to say a big thank you, Zane, for your donation there. Thank you there.
Shout out to everybody who's been donating throughout the podcast. Obviously, we're seeing it and loving it all, but obviously talking at the same time.
I just want to finish the story as to what Sam Raimi has had to say recently. He said that at current, Sam, Bruce, and Rob are working with a new director, unnamed,
Okay.
who is currently writing and creating a new Evil Dead film, and that the three of them will produce it. There's still no idea if it's going to be a spin-off, a new reboot, or a new sequel, but it's not an Ash or Bruce Campbell story.
You know what,
and that's because Sam Raimi's not directing it.
Yeah.
But what Sam did say at the end of the interview, though, was, as for me, I'd love to direct a new Evil Dead movie, but I'd really like to do it with Bruce. And he said he's retired the character.
Yes.
But then Sam finished by saying, I hope not.
Bruce
And then everyone went, oh!
Bruce Campbell is not going to come back for anything directed by Sam Raimi. Simply because...
Bruce Campbell will come back to do anything directed by Sam Raimi.
No, he won't, because of all the crap Sam Raimi
when he's ever said no?
Well,
when? He's never said no.
No, yeah, that is true. But he always, like, we said it a while ago that we felt like Bruce Campbell had gotten a bit bitter with the way
I don't think so. I think he plays that. That's Bruce Campbell playing Bruce Campbell. Playing Ash.
I was hoping that was always the case, because I love Bruce Campbell so much. I just don't want him to be a dick.
He plays the smug jerk off.
But he's
asshole.
also old now, and obviously as an old man myself, I know what it must be like to try to pull off action sequences, and it kind of brings me to Dark Fate. I'm going to bring in Dark Fate at the moment.
Time it.
I'm timing now. Like, I was thinking about Dark Fate recently, and yeah, the storyline is completely fucking shit. But do you think that they were trying to pull off action sequences with Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it just didn't look good enough?
Yeah.
That they had to fix it.
Well, I just watched Star Trek Picard.
Oh, what was that like?
With the action sequence where she's running and she has to grab, Patrick Stewart by the hand as she's sprinting. And watching this doddering old Jean-Luc Picard. I was just like, oh no.
Should he have been in a wheelchair instead?
Should have been with a Zimmer frame, a super frame. I don't know.
And that's it.
Hover frame.
I'd feel the same with Bruce Campbell, unless they filmed it really, really brilliantly, that it would just look like an old man getting beat up. Which, in all respect to Bruce Campbell,
I don't care how old that man gets.
I'd rather. You know how in the first season of Ash vs. Evil Dead, he went to the cabin and he was getting kind of beaten up, and all the kids were getting messed up?
Yeah.
I'd rather see that.
Sure, yeah.
Call it Evil Dead 2 again, done by a new director with 6 or 7 kids, go up to a cabin, they get messed up, and then Bruce Campbell turns up at the end, chops up some monster and leaves.
And saves the day.
No, it doesn't save the day, because he never saves the day, does he?
Yeah, true.
Everything will be dead, the cabin will be burned down, and he'll literally just pick up the book and be whistling as he throws it into the car and drives off.
Yeah.
And you can just fit it in any point of the TV series.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what I go with.
Yeah.
Please, no more Dark Fate discussion. Sorry, I just...
And the last bit of film news, I don't know if I mentioned it in the last podcast or not, but mentioning Star Trek, is that Quentin Tarantino is now done, hands washed, not going to be doing Star Trek for his 10th and final film after all.
Right, okay.
Tarantino's now said that he's not sure what his last film actually is going to be. He doesn't even have a clue what it's going to be about, yet he still maintains that it will actually be his last effort as writer-director.
See, I actually... no, sorry,
well,
Cameron.
He was saying, like, now that this has come out, he was like, well, actually, even if I did do Star Trek, that wasn't going to be my 10th movie.
Yeah. He
was just like, it was a loophole, because it was like, I'd be confined to that.
Yeah.
But then he was just like, but one of the reasons why he's not doing it is because he wants it to be his movie. So his script, his direction,
and
his Star
that.
Trek, but he's just like, but it's got to be in the JJ universe, or it's got to be in the
Paramount
universe. But now those two universes are now one because all the rights have gone back to the same place. So now the person that owns it's like, now I have two universes and I'm...
Oh yeah, Picard's bridging it, isn't it?
Well, it's set back in the Picard series, which just aired yesterday.
Yeah,
is now
set in the original.
It's set in the original
universe.
Yeah,
and you have the J.J. Abrams one with the time machine,
which is all now being pushed away, like
Tarantino was never going to do a Star Trek movie. As soon as I heard a rumor about this, I'm like, how does that even work? I cannot imagine Samuel L. Jackson
super gory, violent,
driving
racist.
a starship, going, "Come back here, you Klingon motherfuckers! I'm gonna be blowing every triple off this goddamn ship," And I was just like, it just doesn't work.
It doesn't
work. It absolutely doesn't work. And with him saying it would have to be my idea, I'm like, no.
It would have to. He wants, that's what he considers his.
Imagine
a numbered film.
Imagine somebody says, "Oh, Quentin Tarantino's doing the new Alien movie." Yeah, exactly. You're like, no. Quentin Tarantino's doing the new Terminator, Predator, Psycho.
I'm just seeing the Xenomorph with Samuel Jackson's voice.
Quentin Tarantino does Quentin Tarantino movies, and I had a really good idea, but I thought of it for his 11th movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Obviously, nobody knows what his 10th movie is. It's going to probably be some kind of weird time documentaries.
Well, the thing is, it's like his
Queen Victoria.
His whole last series of films have all been westerns.
No, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's not.
It's about a retired Western actor, and it very much feels like a Western.
It's a loose. Well,
I mean, he's constantly playing a Western in the film.
It's probably just the music where it works.
There's a lot. He goes on a lot of Western sets. He's reading for a Western.
You know what he should do for his 10th movie? Should be another black exploitation kind of Jackie Brown female. He should do his own version of an Awoke movie. Have I done that right? Awoke movie with just like an all-female cast, like in Death Proof, and just But his 11th one,
he's not doing an 11th one.
He will, because I'm about to drop the bomb on Tarantino to get in on the 11th one, right? Because I already imagined the poster. The poster will be two ones, two like black ones, and it will say like Tarantino's 11th movie, right? And everyone will be like, "Oh my god, Tarantino said he wasn't going to do one," and it will be silhouettes of two male figures holding guns, right? And it will be his
the Vega brothers.
The Vega brothers movie. Vincent Vega and his brother from Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Who got killed. But it will be their story before Pulp Fiction.
Well, obviously, because they're both dead.
Alright. Sorry. Hollywood. But yeah, that's going to be Tarantino's 11th movie. You heard it here first, 2020.
I don't know. I think those actors will be way too past it. I don't think they'll even.
No, they won't be. Michael Madsen and Travolta won't be in it, but it will be two younger male characters playing them, and it'll be ultra realistic, like Pulp Fiction, but violent, like Reservoir Dogs,
them massively, like they did for The Irishman.
You watched the From Dusk Till Dawn TV series, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did they even look anything like Quentin Tarantino and George Clooney?
No.
Right, but you still watched the fucking TV series.
Well, I gave up halfway through because it was awful.
Yeah,
because they were nothing like them.
But that was your mistake. You still got halfway through it.
So?
Tell me, that's what they do. That's what they do.
No, it's just if he was going to make an 11th film, even his 10th one, he needs to do a follow-up to Kill Bill. And then he can call it part 3 and then go, well, it's still one movie.
Oh, that's too easy. The revenge story. That's too easy. I mean, it does work. Bringing in Uma Thurman again and have, like I said, have
the girl whose mother she killed at the beginning.
Yeah, coming back for revenge.
Who she told to come after her for revenge.
That's too obvious now. Everyone knows that that's going to be the story.
But it's very well set up.
Actually, it would be.
It's good. Almost been the amount of time.
You know what would be good, Tarantino, if you're listening, is Vivica A. Fox's daughter from the first Kill Bill turns up right at the beginning and kills Uma Thurman, kills her off, and it's Beatrice's daughter who's then coming back, and it's her chase sequence trying to get them, and it will lead into a whole fight sequence where they both realise that their lives have been brought on by their mothers and they hate each other, but they'll go to agree and then they won't, and then they'll just fight to the death.
Sure.
There you go. I've just given you 2 fucking movies, Tarantino, right there. 2 movies. Yeah.
We've got some good films to look forward to.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, speaking of films to look forward to,
yes,
let's move into the trailers. Now, first trailer we have is for one called Guns Akimbo, which the film finished production in 2019. Its release was last year, but at Fantastic Fest, which is basically film festivals.
Yeah.
But it's due for theatrical release 2020 here in the UK, and it's
brilliant.
basically about a guy who. This is the write-up for it.
Yeah.
A guy relies on his newly acquired gladiator skills to save his ex-girlfriend from kidnappers. That's the IMDb of write-up, and I'm like, that doesn't even tell you anything about what this film actually looks like it entails.
It's Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, playing a really lazy guy who's had guns bolted to his hands.
When you say guns, you mean like Uzis,
like handguns,
that have been Hellraiser style bolted,
into his hands, and he's got to from the trailer that we watched, which was expanded a little bit too much, so it's quite bad. He's being forced to kill off another gladiator style to try to protect his...
Think the Running Man.
Yeah.
Meet slashers.
Schism is the group called. It looks great.
It looks really
great.
Bizarre. Yeah, really gory, really violent. Splatter, exploitation.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
I like Daniel. I mean, did you see Horns?
No.
He was great in Horns. He was great in The Woman in Black. He was great in, Goblet of Fire.
I don't think very much of him other than fine Harry Potter. Not liked him in anything else. So, yeah. But this looks interesting. Swiss Army Man was like...
Swiss Army Man, yeah. He does very artsy movies. I think he's done well to break away from the... Yeah. I'm Harry Potter. Same as Emma Watson and the ginger one.
Yeah. And the next trailer is Morbius.
Fuck off.
Which will be out on July 31st, starring Jared Leto, Michael Keaton and Jared Harris. And if you don't know the story of Morbius, this is going to be Marvel/Sony introducing vampires into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we knew it was coming because we knew that Blade is on the way. But first we're going to have Morbius, which is about a biochemist who tries to cure himself of the vampires of Marvel.
Yeah, but is it Marvel Sony or is it Marvel?
Marvel. Yeah, they got the rights back a while ago. Obviously, when they brought in Wesley Snipes and just went, look, we've cast somebody else's Blade.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, vampires finally coming out this year into the Marvel world.
This looks so venomed.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It looks so venomed, and I hated it
because he's a villain. He's a vampire.
Well, no, he's not. He's not really. He's like Lizard. He's like the Lizard character all over again. He's a scientist who accidentally messes with something that he shouldn't mess with, just like Spider-Man does, and he becomes infected and starts a vampire
starts to change
thing. Which does bring in Blade, but so I've had to listen to everybody give Jared Leto shit for like the last 5 years since Suicide Squad. Yeah. And then they bring out another film, and guess who they star as the main character? Jared Leto.
Well, he wasn't starring in Suicide Squad, though, was he? He was just
he was the Joker, and I tried to like Suicide Squad because it looks stupid.
Wasting energy trying to like that.
I'm wasting energy trying to like this. Like, this isn't even out yet. He's a biochemist who turns himself into a vampire, and he's starting to go... No! Oh,
all right. It looks fine.
It's not.
What's wrong with it?
Like I said, it's venomized. They've taken a character and they go, right, okay, what we need to kind of shoehorn this into the universe. And so Sony here make a film which just looks terrible. It does. Just the trailer looks terrible of him becoming a vampire and the thirst for blood. But he's a good guy. He's the anti-hero. Like Venom again. So it's going to have some really funny bits. Michael Keaton's going to turn up. So it hooks into that whole Spider-Man universe. Yay! And then hopefully we make another Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland, who I think has walked away at the moment. No, he's still in it. Yeah. So hopefully we have that old universe. And then we'll bring it in Blade, and then the next Marvel universe. I reckon Blade will be a TV series because Morbius will be a failure. Well,
it'll be a Disney Plus series.
Yeah,
but no, I think Morbius looks fine.
What?
Yeah, I think it looks fine. It looks like.
Did you even watch the animated series, Spider-Man the animated series?
The original series.
The one on Fox Kids. Michael. Did you see the Michael Morbius saga they had in that with the?
I don't remember it in the original cartoon series.
That storyline would be 10 times better than the one they're trying to do with this one.
Well, I don't know what storyline they're going to do with this new one. So
He's curing himself of a rare blood disease, which turns him into a vampire. But then he's going to be weaponized. They're going to try and weaponize him, and he's going to fight against the government. And then somebody's going to grab his girlfriend, and he's going to be like, "I love you, but I'm this monster, and I need to run away, Bill Bixby style, to cure myself." And then it will set up. Tom Holland will be at the end with like a camera, like,
yeah.
click.
But you were like this with the Joker movie, so I'm just going to go, okay, and that's fine.
Joker's
Morbius
really good.
looks fine. But and there was a trailer that you definitely wanted me to watch.
Yes. Oh, well,
I'm going to leave you to introduce this one.
Yeah,
because if you're going to diss Morbius, you can talk about this one, Ian.
Well,
You
actually,
son of a bitch.
this is a shout out to my friend Megadeth Tom, who messaged me during the week and asking what I was up to, and I said that we were up to a podcast, and he sent me this link and said this looks really good, and it's a film called Velocipaster from 2019, and from what I researched, it's about a priest who has accidentally been cursed with the ability to turn into a velociraptor. We watched the trailer before we sat down to record. The trailer looked like, it made me think of Curse of the Queer Wolf, The Dead Next Door.
It reminded me of Wolf Cop.
Wolf Cop, yeah. Hellraiser Judgment. I mean, it was so low budget, so...
Oh, it looked better than Hellraiser Judgment.
You know what? It actually looked better than Morbius 2020. You know, at least you knew that this film had some heart behind it, and you know they were trying to tell a proper story. Where, you know, whatever they're trying to do with Jared Leto, like, why Jared Leto?
Because he's a quality actor.
I liked him as the Joker in Suicide Squad.
Sure.
He was quality.
There was like
actor in
3
that.
people that did.
Yeah, I was one of them.
I know.
And his acting skill from that is going to go into Morbius.
Yeah, he's a quality actor.
But yeah, Velocipaster, you should totally check it out. It looks stupid.
Yes, endorsing quality movies as always, Ian. Well, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to go and boil Ian's brains.
Hey, I need all my brain power. That's why I
filter out all of that awfulness.
I've been saving
so
like
that you can
25% of it.
Yes, you can enlighten us into Hideo Kojima's demented mind of Metal Gear. Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. A surveillance camera?
We'll be back momentarily.
Right. Best get my shit ready.
Best put the crack pipe away. Oh shit.
Yep. My crack pipe, no fucking shop. It's your crack pipe. Everybody has a crack pipe. Da, 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 da.
Is that Metal Gear, was it?
Yeah, that's Metal Gear.
This is the least I've ever done for a theme in terms of note making.
No, I've seen you do that before. There was another one I think I did,
right.
and you just left it
I
blank.
just left it blank, yeah.
That's what you do. I'm glad you spelled Metal Gear right.
I did?
Yeah.
Alright, I think we are back on. We'll just wait for
Yeah.
housemates to vacate the area.
Glad we've got the door open as well. Still gets warm in here. There's only two of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking
I
computer.
know, it's freezing outside.
I swear, just sitting in front of this computer radiates me.
It does.
It's like, you don't need to watch Chernobyl. Just
You just come and sit here, yeah.
sit in front of people are like, come and look at my new PC. It's like, man, I got to tell you the story. I forgot to tell it in the beginning, but while we're on here before I get into Metal Gear, right?
Sure.
This morning, doing my challenges.
Right.
Yeah. 7:30, I wake up. I slept in the front room because obviously fell asleep watching TV. Go into the kitchen, make a cup of tea, feed the cat, keep her quiet. Go into the front room, go into the dining room, turn the Xbox on, get all sorted.
Yeah.
As soon as it loads up, a free roam event popped up. Railroad battle. Straight away. As soon as I'm in the game, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! What's my challenges? Hit my challenges because it could be another 30 minutes. First thing in the morning, sipping my tea, hit my challenges.
Still waking up.
Boom, boom, boom. 2 challenges. Kill 3 people in a free roam event with your revolver and come top third. Come in the top 3.
Sure.
I'm like, I ain't coming in top 3. I barely shoot and make sure I've got my revolver on me. Because last night, me and Campbell, we painted Valentine red. Just shot the place up. Go into the game.
Yeah.
Got my 3 kills. Kicked ass so good. I won the game top 1. MVP. I was sat there sipping my tea at like 7:45.
I still got sleep in them, just like, what?
I was like,
What'd I
2
do?
challenges done in like 5 minutes. And I came top. Oh my God. I wasn't. You know when you're not trying? Like you know you're going to do bad.
Yeah.
But you
still win and come top. No, I don't know that, Ian.
I was circling around the train. Everybody else was fighting in the middle section of the train. And I went right round and circled round and came back, jumped on the front of the train and shot my way towards the back.
This was all still drinking coffee. Like.
Just waking up. Got all my dailies done and was able to make breakfast at 8:30.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Very good. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know either.
Are you ready? Shall we kickstart off the second part?
Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. I'll introduce it and then it'll be over to you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
It's going to be mostly Ian talking for this next hour.
You know that sequence in Dreamcatcher where the guy's sorting out his head with all the
all the filing stuff, yeah.
That's
I imagine I'm just in that room just yanking open doors going, ooh,
what's it? Put that back! Jesus Christ, no.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Cross-referencing everything.
That's why I need to record it.
And welcome back to part 2 of the podcast where we're going to be having a discussion on the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Yes.
Now I have to say my input into this specific topic is going to be very limited as I've only really played 1 or 2 of the games to completion.
Yeah.
The rest of them I've had samples of and one of them I've sat through a complete playthrough with you.
Yeah.
But that is it. So Ian, what is Metal Gear?
Oh man,
Metal Gear.
Like I wanted to do this specifically for myself as well because I've been such a fan of this series ever since I was a kid that the Metal Gear franchise has just been there at points in my life, and I've listened to I wouldn't say hatred, but a lot of the backlash that the game series has acquired over the 35 plus years that it's been around. I mean, the most recent one, Metal Gear Solid 5, took a bit of a hit would say, because obviously people weren't really expecting it, but at the same time they really didn't want it either. Well, I was actually gagging for a new Metal Gear game.
I thought 4 was meant to be the last one.
4 was meant to be the last one. Hideo Kojima, the creator of the series, actually went on record in magazines and interviews and said, yeah, I'm done with it. You know, even the story itself seemed over. But there was something missing. And I'll get to that. I mean, starting off, I had to come from the subject, because obviously trying to keep it within an hour as well. I was coming from the subject from 3 different points. You know, the back history of the development of the games, the story of the game itself, and then my personal feelings towards the series. And obviously trying to make it easy for people who don't know it, who don't play it, you know, who might sit there and go, oh, Metal Gear. Oh, Jesus, that's that stealth game where you just get spotted and everyone kills you and you can't do anything. It is that, but it's something so much more. So Metal Gear was released.
I'm sorry.
Was first released in 1987, July 1987, by Konami on the MSX2. Ever heard of the MSX2? No, neither had I. I don't think many people outside of Japan or Europe really owned. It was like a
pre-Commodore.
Yeah, it was like a Japanese kind of Commodore Amiga type computer, and
it was a tape. It was a tape.
Computer,
wasn't it? Yeah.
It was actually like the first place you would find maybe Castlevania or Contra.
Right.
And December of that year, 1987, there was another console released which would completely knock the MSX2 out of the park. And that was the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Sure.
So this console has been made, and Hideo Kojima, like I said, the creator of Metal Gear, had been given the chance to make his own game. He's just joined Konami, and they want an action army game. But the computer can't handle what they want. You know, everything was arcadey back then. You had all these enemies coming on screen at once trying to attack you.
Right.
And he's just like, look, the system's just not handling that. We've got to come at it from a different approach. And so he wanted to make a kind of Great Escape kind of game. You're playing a soldier who has to avoid the enemy, not attack them head on. And so he creates, like I said, Metal Gear. But it's forced by Konami onto the MSX too, which isn't selling very well. And it's sent out there, you know, it's got a great storyline, follows the story of Solid Snake, a stealth operative sent into the military installation Outer Heaven, which is housing this huge army, and he has to get in there to rescue a scientist and stop the development of Metal Gear, a 2-legged walking battle tank that can fire a nuclear missile from anywhere on the planet.
Metal Gear.
So, you know, I wouldn't actually play this game until it was on the NES and not until the 90s, but as a child, like 8-year-old me, I am like hooked. This game's basically Rambo. I'm a soldier dropping in to take on all these guys, but I have to avoid them.
Was it the game whose cover looked like Reese?
Yes.
Or Hicks?
Yes, that was the Nintendo
it looked
version.
Like Michael Biehn.
It was Michael Biehn. He
yeah.
took the original picture of Carl Reese from Terminator, because Hideo Kojima himself has gone on record and said he is a massive movie fan.
Yeah.
And I get that from these games, because there are so many references and nods, some things that are so obvious, but then some that you only go, oh wait, hold on, like, oh, he's called Snake, Escape from New York, you know, or oh, this one's got an eye patch, and oh, where did that come into it? But yeah, so Konami come up with the idea, and at the same time, that because all these games are being released on Nintendo, and Nintendo's selling really well across the world at this point,
of course, yeah,
we want Metal Gear on the NES, but we don't want Kojima doing it. So while he's off making another game and developing a Snatcher, which is another good game which I'd like to look into at some point, but I was focused heavily on this, Konami take the code of the MSX2 version of Metal Gear and have a NES team develop it.
Okay.
Without Kojima's knowledge.
Involvement, right.
Yeah, or involvement. And it sells really well. There's a few tweaks here and there because obviously the Nintendo's different to the MSX. So where on the MSX version you fight a Metal Gear itself, and there's this whole elaborate battle there. In the NES version, you fight a supercomputer. You don't actually ever...
That was exciting.
Yeah, you don't actually ever see a Metal Gear, but, you know, they had to tweak these few things. So, Metal Gear sells really, really well, and it's the first time, like I said, I saw it on the NES and tried to play it, and it punished me.
Okay.
You know, we talk about punishing games when we were kids. You know, you just keep... I personally just kept dying over and over and over again, and I'd get frustrated, and I'd smack this joypad, it doesn't work properly, or the game's broken, or what is going on here? And it's really quite simple to play.
Sounds it.
It does, because after you know, back then you didn't really have saves, so you had to remember every screen. Every next screen you had to remember there were 2 guards there, or where the next card is, you know, where the gun is, where this is, where that is. It kind of helped me, you know, work with more computer games, trying to remember what was on the next screen, because if I die, I'm going to have to start all over again. I never got to play the sequel, the true sequel to Metal Gear. I'll just have a quick cup of tea while I'm talking. Hideo Kojima finds out one day while traveling home from work that Konami want to make a sequel to Metal Gear, but they just don't want Kojima involved. So
have they explained why at this point yet?
No,
Or is it just that Konami have never wanted Kojima involved?
Researching this, it kind of felt like there were a lot of senior developers at the company, who kind of didn't like this young upstart coming in with this great idea and making this great game and taking all the money and the credit. You know, because if Konami had put Kojima on the NES version of Metal Gear, I reckon the series would have just skyrocketed on the NES and every subsequent console after. But because they kept him in the background, they got the NES team who had done the Metal Gear copy to work on a non-canon, before anybody jumps in the comment section, non-canon sequel called Snake's Revenge.
Right.
And
I've never even heard of it.
No, I once again managed to get a copy of it from a friend when I was in school on the NES, and people were like, "Oh, this is the sequel to Metal Gear." And before the internet, not knowing anything, it's like, "Oh my god!" And once again, it was stupidly hard as fuck. But after playing Metal Gear, you know, I hadn't completed Metal Gear because, you know, as a kid, you're just forced to go outside more, and, you know, you had school and stuff like that, so you didn't have hours to sit there playing one game.
Right.
But I knew that there were going to be no saves. I was going to have to learn the maps, do all the stuff all over again.
Yeah.
Kojima goes to Konami when he finds out about the sequel, Snake's Revenge, and says, "Look, I want to make a true sequel to Metal Gear."
Right.
And they're like, "Brilliant, yes, you can. But we're releasing it on the MSX2. The MSX2, which was pretty much dead at this point. So Kojima in 1990 releases Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. A better version than Snake's Revenge with updated graphics. Like, Snake at this point could crawl, you know, and climb under stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there were great battle sequences, like you had to fight a Hindy helicopter, you know, many things that would come up in the later series of the games. There was the whole thing where they actually put the tap code for a certain sequence of the game on the back of the box.
Right.
So you had to buy the game with the box to get the code to be able to play it, and if you got a copy.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah. But the game never was released. Well, because the MSX2 is never on in Europe, the game was never released over here. So Metal Gear 2 is just in Japan. And it's a legend in the rest of the world.
Sure.
And I heard about it, but not being able to play it, I'm just like, oh my god.
There's this game.
There's this game that I really want to play, because the first one was brilliant, but I haven't got an MSX. The one on the NES was stupidly hard, but I still love it. Now I've got the sequel, which has nothing to do with the story on the NES. But I want to get an MSX2 so I can play that. Doesn't happen. Comes up to 1998. So 8 years after the release of Metal Gear 2, 1998 comes around. The PlayStation 1...
The whole gaming stratosphere has changed.
Sony PlayStation 1 has dropped, and out of nowhere, Metal Gear Solid. Now, I know, because I've spoke to you about this, that this was one of those games that you actually...
Well, this is the first game in the franchise I ever played. I didn't know that there was... I mean,
previous ones.
I'd played the NES, I'd played the SNES, but never come across those games. No one I knew had them or played them or anything like that. I'd never even seen them in like the arcade shops or anything like that. So yeah,
that's the funny thing, because speaking to people, that's a lot of their first introductions to Solid Snake and the Metal Gear franchise is Metal Gear Solid
on the PlayStation.
And it's funny that we have the Metal Gear franchise, but the game on the PlayStation is the start of the Metal Gear Solid series.
Yeah, and for me is the the PlayStation 1 and some of the games on the PlayStation 1 are just some of the most defining games in all of gamedom for me. Yeah. For me, it was, you're there with Tekken, with Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and there's like moving into the 3D world. Yeah. And Metal Gear Solid was just right up there with Siphon Filter.
Oh no! See, I'm sorry. I mean, Siphon Filter was good, but Siphon Filter was the copy of Metal Gear Solid.
It was a very good
one. Same with Tenchu's. Stealth games became a thing after Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid
Metal Gear Solid was the one
movie aspect to
I
it.
finished that game through and through until I'd unlocked everything. Until I'd unlocked the bandana. So I'd unlocked the James Bond suit.
The invisibility
that's going
costume.
through the whole game without being spotted once. It's going through the whole game without killing anybody.
I was there, man. But that was it. Metal Gear Solid, like I remember just after completing it the first, second, and third time, it's just I'm going on European Extreme. No Soliton radar. I want to take my time and watch the guards because, and it's funny because it was already there in Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2. The intelligence that Kojima had incorporated into the enemies, like they could see at a certain angle. And if you got within that sight, they spotted you.
Right.
They could hear things. You could tap on the walls and lure them around. You had to listen to the environment because your footfalls on certain surfaces made different noises.
I've never seen anything like that in a game like that.
Yeah,
unless it was scripted,
The storyline as well had been building up. Like I said, in Metal Gear 1, you're Solid Snake, you're dropped into this base, and you're being told all this by your commander, Big Boss. Yeah. Now, at the end of the game, Big Boss is revealed to be the leader of Outer Heaven, and you have to defeat him to save the world because he's going to use Metal Gear to destroy it all. Once you defeat him, the story, obviously not counting Snake's Revenge, Kojima carried on a story into Metal Gear 2 where you have a new army base called Zanzibar Land, which is kind of going through the same thing, and rumors say that it's being led by the greatest legendary soldier, Big Boss. So Snake is called on again to infiltrate, defeat the army, take down Metal Gear, and defeat Big Boss once again. Leading into Metal Gear Solid, like the story for Metal Gear Solid really got me enraptured with what the hell was going on before, because you've got Liquid Snake, the clone brother of Solid Snake,
who is a clone
of Big Boss. Here
we go.
So they are family. Big Boss's body is being
a clone
wanted.
Make you family?
Yes, because technically he's their father, brother, identical twin, kind of
gene donor.
Yes, but you have to have a surrogate mother. Actually, a surrogate mother is used, so his DNA was used to implant into eggs, and two of the children were born from a mother. The third was born separately, and that's why he's perfect. But I couldn't find all the information for that. I will get to that part. But obviously, like I said, you have Liquid Snake wanting Big Boss's body and wanting to use Metal Gear Rex. Questions?
I just Liquid wanted Big Boss's body.
He wanted Big Boss's body because he has been led to believe that he is the negative. He has all the negative genes of Big Boss, and Solid Snake has all the positive genes. That's why he's such a great stealth infiltrator. That's why he survived all these heavy encounters. You know, but it's actually flipped. As the player, Solid Snake is just kind of, even though he's a genetic super soldier, he's got all the recessant genes, and Liquid has all the perfect stuff. But it's driven him mad, because he's driven with this massive desire to prove himself against Solid Snake. And like you said, you played it through 100 million times. You know, the boss fights themselves, going up against people like Sniper Wolf, you know, going up against people like Vulcan Raven, and then
they were also very memorable.
Yeah.
Distinctively different and very inventive the way you had to beat them.
Now, Revolver Ocelot is where you'd be first introduced to in Metal Gear Solid, and he's
first boss.
He is an incredible character to the series, and he's one you have to follow if you really want to completely understand the whole story, because leading on from Metal Gear Solid 2 is put into development and obviously comes out in 2001. And I thought it was quite funny researching this, that Konami have now kind of given Kojima the reins with the series and gone, yeah, make more games because they absolutely sell brilliantly. But
it's such a switch from...
But we're once again just going to confine them onto the PlayStations.
Okay, yeah.
So Metal Gear Solid was on the PlayStation 1. Didn't come out on anything else until the PC later on. Right. I think 2 years later. And then Metal Gear Solid 2 was released on the PlayStation 2, which completely changed everything about games again, because like I said, I've been following this stealth game, which you took time and patience and you had to be careful, and now it's gone completely 3D, where I can go first person and I can hold people up and tell them to drop their weapons.
Yes.
But this is also where I think the controversy starts with the Metal Gear Solid series.
Massively.
Because
we were advertised a game that we didn't get.
No, you did get it. You just didn't get the story that you were expecting,
or the gameplay.
What
the gameplay was to play as Solid Snake.
You do get to play as Solid Snake.
Not for the entire game.
That's
we were sold.
That's not really... No, well, the story for Metal Gear Solid 2, I think, is... You've got to be very particular. And it's the fact that Solid Snake has left the American government. You know, he's been used like 3 times by them to defeat possibly his own father, and used to collect this data for this incredible doomsday-like weapon that everybody wants.
Metal Gear.
And somebody, Revolver Ocelot, has leaked all of the technology and blueprints for Metal Gear on the internet.
Yeah. So now every government operative company...
Everybody in the world has the potential to make a nuclear walking battle tank. So the American government come up with Metal Gear Ray, the anti-Metal Gear. And this thing has been designed to obviously kill all other Metal Gears and put America at the forefront of the arms race again. And Solid Snake spends the beginning of the game, which is absolutely brilliant, going onto a tanker to collect information. Now, this for me started the fact that you had to not kill everybody.
Why? Why can't you kill everybody?
Because Hideo Kojima didn't want you engaging the enemy all the time. In a game where
you've been given guns and ammo and...
Tenchu Stealth Assassin, you're given all those ninjas and swords, but
loads you had to go kill.
The true ninja obviously stays invisible and only takes out the target. Yeah. So for me, with Metal Gear Solid as well,
teasing.
Stealth was always the key, and so I'd spent years trying to avoid the enemy, and I play that first section of the tanker, take down everybody stealthily with my tranquilizer gun. Snake goes through this whole epic scene with Liquid Ocelot, who has now had the arm of Snake's dead brother cloned, sewn onto his arm.
What?
And
why?
Well, because he wanted an arm back. He was missing an arm.
Okay.
And that was his gun spinning arm. So he wanted
whose arm does he put on?
Liquid Snake's.
And they found him at the end of the...
His body was just left in the Alaskan snow. And so...
And they managed to find it.
It's just lying there in the snow, by an exploded base,
okay.
And there's all this wreckage and stuff. Anyway, it's Revolver Ocelot as well. So he steals the body, has the arm grafted to him, but he's kind of being psychically taken over by Liquid Snake.
What?
Stay with me.
Liquid Snake's conscience...
Nanomachines. A lot of the soldiers, including Solid Snake, are controlled or kind of managed by nanomachines inside their body. That's how the government keep track of them. And so the nanomachines that were in Liquid Snake have gone into Revolver Ocelot and have started to make him act a little bit weird. And Liquid Ocelot steals Metal Gear Ray and it sinks. And we cut to...
Metal Gear Ray was a boat?
Metal Gear Ray was the...
Anti-Metal Gear.
Was
but you
the
said it
anti-Metal Gear.
sinks.
It was on board the tanker that they'd infiltrated.
Right, which they sink.
Now, the story that the American government had put out was that the tanker was full of petrol because they were trying to keep the Metal Gear Ray secret.
But the internet has all the...
The internet is controlled.
Okay.
The internet is controlled and maintained by a massive AI, which the story from Metal Gear Solid 2 would actually bring us to. We are introduced to Raiden, and Raiden is given the job to infiltrate this special establishment known as the Big Shell, which was used to clean up the oil lost in the tanker incident. And his job is to rescue the president. Now, there's a lot of similarities for Raiden's mission breaking into the Big Shell as there is to Solid Snake's story as he infiltrates Shadow Moses. The stealth operative has to infiltrate and defeat certain key figures before finding, obviously, the main target, then being betrayed and finding out that actually it's all to stop this nuclear walking battle tank. In this case, if you remember at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, when Raiden was naked, he's running around a place called Arsenal Gear. Arsenal Gear is this massive, huge, I don't even know how you really describe it. It's like a battleship submarine, Metal Gear carrying huge warship.
Okay.
And it's been created by the Patriots.
Who are they?
Let me just grab a drink for 2 seconds. Because the Patriots is where this story starts to get really weird.
This is where it gets really weird.
And the fandom, I felt, at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2 took a real hit. Because Hideo Kojima was trying to explain a story or give his idea of a story that he believed was going on. While also trying to carry on the legacy of Metal Gear. We've gone from NES, we've gone from MSX to NES, we've gone to PlayStation. Games were changing at this point, and Metal Gear is still a slow-paced stealth game.
Yeah.
So you had to kind of make or break your audience with a story that is just so far-fetched. Now, like I said, let's stay with me. The Patriots are an AI created by a secret group of figures called Cypher back in the 1980s.
Right.
They were funded by something called the Philosopher's Legacy and had enough money to basically just... Their overall goal was to control the world.
The AI.
The individual. The group. But they were getting old, and as time passed...
The group of AI?
The
group that made the AI?
The group of elite figures that run the governments of China, Russia, and America were obviously trying to control their populations, and for them, the biggest moneymaker in the world is war. And so they were able to control the battlefield, basically, and control the population, and use their money to further their goals. But as years passed... and friendships fracture and people die, the overall view of the Patriots was kind of lost, but it was controlled by an AI that they had developed over years. The AI was there to take over. Once all the original figures had died, the AI would take over and control everything continuously. You know, war would be balanced, the economy would be balanced. You and I and every ordinary Joe would not actually know it was going on because the media is itself controlled by the AI. The flow of information is controlled to the point where only the most top elite people like Solid Snake and the President of the United States could be involved in something so big. Raiden is a puppet of the Patriots. He's been basically taught from a child to be a fighter, much and follow in the footsteps of Solid Snake, because the Patriots couldn't control Solid Snake. He's already destroyed Out Heaven, Zanzibar Land. He fucking destroyed Metal Gear Rex and then buggered off, you know, and he was on board the tanker when trying to destroy the Patriots' new toy, Metal Gear Ray. He's not dead, obviously, and he's the only thing that stops the Patriots' overall plan. Their plan in Metal Gear Solid 2 was to
control the world?
To control the world with Arsenal gear. But if you remember
Arsenal gear,
the giant tank thing
that sank on,
it crashes at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2. You probably don't remember the fight against Solidus Snake?
No, I don't remember
at the
much
end
of
with
2.
the sword
I
fight.
remember some of the bosses, but
the overall boss at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2 is Solidus Snake, the third brother. Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, Solidus Snake.
Who Snake?
Les Enfants des Terribles. I can't do much of French, so I always say the Terrible Three. The three children of Big Boss.
All clones.
All clones. And all designed to fight in this over.
So one's got the good genes, one's got the bad genes. What's the other one got?
Solidus is perfect.
He's got all the genes.
He's got all. He's basically Big Boss.
Okay.
And
so did they do this by accident, or did they deliberately go, you know what, let's just give them all the bad genes?
I think it was all deliberate. The Patriots AI has been caught in a loop. It can't advance any further than the original ideas of the Patriots, which is to control war and control the world and control the populations of the people.
Okay.
And so it's continuously just setting up all of these pawns into a massive game. Foxhound at Shadow Moses, Metal Gear Rex, Liquid Snake, Solid Snake, Big Shell, Metal Gear Ray, Raiden. You know, they are playing the same play over and over again. But there's an issue.
Okay.
The issue is that things break. And at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, Arsenal Gear, the huge warship that the Patriots wanted to use to control the world, smashes into Manhattan Island. And Raiden is told by Solid Snake that he's got to stop Liquid Snake, and try to stop the Patriots even more. And like I said, this is where the fandom lost it, because they're like, "Who are the Patriots? What the hell's going on? This makes no sense." Leading into Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, Metal Gear Solid 3, for a lot of fans, is the penultimate best game in the series, because it actually goes back to the very, very beginning, or as you can, of the story. We have to go back to August 24th, 1963, which is the birth date of Hideo Kojima, actually. And we have to go to Russia with Big Boss, the father to Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, and Solidus Snake.
So this is before all the clones were made?
This is before all the clones. This is before 1987's Metal Gear on the NES. This is before all that. But it's actually, 2004. So the technology in gaming has already advanced even more. We've got first-person mode. We've got hunting animals. We've got camouflage. We've got all the greatly designed, directed cut sequences.
Yeah. I remember this being one of the most returned video games at the time of its release,
and
because it was advertised as like the alternative to Call of Duty,
yes,
which was pretty big at the time.
Yeah,
and everyone got this and went, "What? What am I doing?
It's you really had to like live in the jungle with Metal Gear Solid 3, and I just fell in love with the series all over again. Like, I'd almost lost it after Metal Gear Solid 2. You know, I was like, what the hell's going on?
I did.
And
I was done with the franchise.
Yeah. But I'd been following it a lot longer than you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the story, I was sticking to it. And so when the third one came out, I was like, I need to play this. And I think you bought it for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I played it all the way through. And the game was an absolute just delight. It was amazing. It was everything I wanted. And it was... Hideo Kojima wanted to make a stealth game where you could infiltrate your target, but from different targets.
Huh?
But with the limitations of what the game computers could do, so for example, the MSX, the NES, the PlayStation, the PS2, once you got to the PS2 with Snake Eater, you could see what he was actually wanting to do. He wanted to make a world for you to sneak around in.
Sure, I want to make a sandbox game.
Yeah. You know, set around this base. You wanted to, you know, you get from point A to point B, but it's up to you how you go, because games were very linear.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 3...
Well, Metal Gear 1 and 2 was very linear, yeah.
Yeah,
but I know that the next two were much more open world.
Yeah, you have these massive worlds you can run around in and do whatever you want, but yeah, it's a very linear path. With Metal Gear Solid 3, you could hunt around the jungle for a while, collecting food, preparing yourself, you know, getting yourself to take on the next big boss. And like I said, this is where the story really starts, because you have to defeat a woman called the Boss.
Okay.
She is before Big Boss, she is the one big ultimate soldier during this time. And she sets herself up to be a traitor to the United States, because she's looking for something for the philosophers, for the patriots, sorry. And she finally finds this thing, passes it to to Naked Snake, I'll call him actually, because it gets a bit confusing. She gives it to Naked Snake, and he has to kill her so that her idea of her dying as a traitor can hopefully free the world from war.
What?
The Boss had realized, this is all explained in some of the beauty of the Metal Gear Solid games, is everything is explained in their cut sequences, but people don't sit through them. They hit start and skip and miss out on all this story. And so you have to sit there and understand it. That the Boss back in 1963, before everything, before the Metal Gears, before the nuclear war, before all the extra stuff that we'd already gone through, before all that, she had come up with this idea of helping the world not have war. You know, the United States was going to get this massive, huge bank account of money that would see them make their space race, 1963, shoot off, and we would never have to worry about war ever again. Because we'd be so focused on getting off this planet and expanding into the universe. You know, not bickering between ourselves. Yesterday's allies is tomorrow's enemies, she said. You know, she just wanted a better future.
How long does she last in this story? Because I know that doesn't happen.
Well, that's it. She dies at the end of Metal Gear
Right.
Solid 3. And Big Boss, Naked Snake, takes the money to the American government. And obviously they're like, no, we want to become the richest, most powerful country in the whole entire world.
Who does? America does.
America does.
Okay.
This is Hideo Kojima's view on the world governments playing in here,
yeah.
right? You know, the threat of nuclear war, having the biggest guns, you know, the biggest armies, the biggest soldiers. Why can't we work together and, you know, get off this goddamn rock? You know, we were in a space race and then all of a sudden it's gone now, and now we're just feuding each other. So, like I said, as a fan, personally, I'm getting so much from these games. They've gone from just being a simple NES kind of arcadey, kiddish type game where I'm a soldier, to now, with Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, giving me insights on how the world works without even me, like, wanting to know it, if you know what I mean. You know, they're starting to explain to me that, you know, we are just fighting. And while researching this as well for the podcast, it also felt like it was an internal message struggle from him with what he was facing, maybe at the company.
Sure, yeah.
You know, because he didn't really make many other games outside the Metal Gear series. Or if he did...
I don't think he was allowed to after the success of Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2. They were just like, you keep making these games now. And that's why I think he wanted to end it. And they were just like, no, you keep making more of these.
He wanted to end it at Metal Gear Solid 3. You know, he was wanting to end it at Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, he was wanting to do something else, but they were just making him come back. So, we've just been in 1963 with the beginning of this story. We've been introduced to a couple of major players, one of them being Major Zero. And Major Zero, you remember Colonel Campbell in Metal Gear Solid?
How could you forget?
Major Zero is basically Naked Snake's Colonel Campbell in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Okay.
He's always calling him up and giving him advice. And at the end of the game, the two of them are supposed to work together to hopefully build a better world.
Sure.
Big Boss wants to do it with the biggest military might he can find, because he believes that soldiers who are suffering from all the troubles of war are forced into a life. And if he can get them to join his army, then maybe they can save the world with this massive, huge army.
Yeah.
Major Zero's view of the world, they should take all this money and they should control the world in a kind of more peaceful way by information and computers, and hopefully, you know, they can take the individual's free will away because they'll just do and say whatever you want them because it's all electronic. Both of them take the boss's idea of peace and completely fuck it up. And because of that, they worked together for a short while, from 1963 up to about 1972, when Major Zero secretly takes the DNA of Big Boss and creates 3 clones. This really pisses Big Boss off, and he decides to leave and just sit with his army and secretly wage a covert war against Major Zero. You know, every time Major Zero tries to make a move to control something, maybe Kennedy, you know, the Kennedy assassination, or a Russian politicians, Big Boss would be there with his army to step in, you know, mess shit up. But this we go through Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, which was a PSP release after Metal Gear Solid 3. And I didn't play at the time. It was released in 2008? No, 2010 I think it was, after Metal Gear Solid 4. And it kind of expanded the story a little bit more, introducing these AIs.
Okay.
You know, the computers controlling the information.
The computer, people running the computer.
How many computers do you need? You're always going to need more than one AI because they're so big. There's a master AI controlling 5 small AIs.
Who are all the players? I mean, well, don't forget. Don't tell me all the players. Who are the factions? Who's the heads of all the factions that are at war with each other?
Well, I'm going to...
How many are there?
I'm going to bring us right up to date now, okay?
Okay.
Because Metal Gear Solid 4 was released in 2008.
Yeah.
And we are joining Old Snake at this point. You know, Solid Snake.
Right. They're going to say, wait, Old Snake, is that the new Snake?
Every game named Snake a different snake.
But they're not the same snake.
But they're not the same
exactly.
snakes.
Don't confuse me now.
Obviously not confusing you. But what I mean is what I was saying is every game named them Snake, but each one had a different Snake code name. So Old Snake is just an older version of Solid Snake. And this is where the story would end.
Okay.
Really. Because, like I said, from 1972, 1974, the Patriots have controlled, the Old Men elite group of Cypher and the Patriots have controlled information and controlled the world. And they've been battling...
They're the Illuminati.
Yes.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yes. And they've been battling this secret army being run by Big Boss.
Okay.
But because they have the clones of Solid Snake and Liquid Snake and Solidus Snake, they are able to, you know, control it the way they are. But they don't really count on Solid Snake being, because you're the player, you are the audience, the hero, of defeating their target each time. You defeated it in the first game, the second game, Metal Gear Solid 2. Yeah.
I don't understand.
And you get to Metal Gear Solid 3, where the Patriots are now just...
I don't understand why they're bothering with all of this genetic swapping and making up and consciousness in nanites when they're building Metal Gears with freaking nukes. Like, why does it matter what?
Every time they build a Metal Gear with a nuke on its back, Solid Snake turns up, coming out of nowhere, and blows it up. And it manages to defeat it. And the Patriots just can't work out why. How does this keep
because
happening?
they've not launched the goddamn nuke that they keep putting on these things.
How does this one man, how does this one player battle against all the odds, against this overwhelming force?
Put the off button somewhere where he can't access it.
And it's all because of one man. Revolver Ocelot.
But he's not Revolver Ocelot anymore. He's Liquid Snake.
Throughout the whole of Metal Gear Solid 4, I thought the exact same. I thought he was exactly the same.
Wait, cut his arm off in a deleted scene?
No. He obviously he did get his arm cut off in Metal Gear Solid by Ninja. He did have Liquid Snake's arm reattached to it, but he actually was never controlled by Liquid Snake at all. Revolver Ocelot. Yeah. Revolver Ocelot from the very beginning, from Metal Gear Solid 3 from 1963, had been working his way to defeat the Patriots and destroy the AI.
Why? I thought he... Why?
Why? He worked for them, yeah. He's a double, triple agent. Because they killed his mother. The boss. In Metal Gear Solid 3. The woman whose ideal
wanted
peace in the whole world.
Why didn't he say that in the first place? It would have saved so much goddamn misunderstandings.
Because Hideo Kojima, Gary, wanted to make a series out of games and Konami wanted to make a shit ton of money out of it, and they did. We bought their PlayStation 2s and PlayStation 3s and PlayStation 1s and their Xbox 1s for their games. We bought all their comics and all their figures and all that. And it accumulated. I sat there at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 like, what? Like, mind blown. Like, you're telling me this one guy I've been fighting all the way through
was really the good guy?
Yes. And it accumulated to, and like I said, controversy, sales cash. You know, people didn't like Metal Gear Solid 2 and were unsure about coming back for the third one. But the third one had done really, really well. And then the fourth one was really bad because it had hour-long cut sequences. But then all of a sudden, everyone gets excited again with Ground Zeroes. But they, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero, which came out in 2014. But now that was a glorified demo for 40 quid? No, I'm not buying that. Fuck you, Konami. But then we're going to release Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Which linked...
That was the full game, wasn't it?
That was the full game. Now, Ground Zeroes tells the story of... And we have to go back in time again, I'm sorry. To 1974, just after the Peace Walker incident, where Big Boss has gone out on a mission to rescue a couple of allies and then has returned back to his mother base where all of his soldiers are, and everything is just destroyed. Everybody is killed by Major Zero. His partner, friend, hatred, colleague. And in the Phantom Pain, spoilers. If you've never played Phantom Pain, I would say stop the podcast right now because I'm going to spoil Metal Gear Solid for a lot of people. Is, like I said, the first game came out in 1987.
Yep.
And you fought all the way to that at the end of that game, and you defeated Big Boss. The big reveal was Big Boss was the guy, your master, and now he's betrayed you.
Sure.
But then he comes back in the second game, and something never sat right with me. Like, how did the guy come back in the second game? I'd already killed him in the first one, and now he's come back in the second one, and now in Metal Gear Solid we need his body. So Jesus Christ, he's taking a lot of damage. Not going even into the point that you get to hug him at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, but with the Phantom Pain, you don't actually play as Big Boss. You play as a soldier who's been kind of genetically modified, not clone-like, but, you know,
genetically modified.
Surgically modified to the point that he looks like Big Boss. And he is now the leader of this soldier force. And Big Boss is just buggered off to do something sneaky in the shadows because there's a whole future coming. And it finished this whole story for me. Personally, I finished number 5 Metal Gear Solid 5 and was like, oh my god, everything just makes sense. Like, I know, like I said, I've just sat through it, and it's hard to understand it myself with all these notes as well of who is who and where is what and what does what where. But
it makes perfect sense.
To understand that it all started with one woman's idea of peace around the world, and then 2 government officials took a gazillion dollars and completely screwed up that idea of peace to cause a conflict that would surpass it for 30 odd years. And even so, the hero that you thought you were playing as isn't even the hero, because it's actually the guy you've been trying to defeat.
The whole time. And then his reasoning behind it is, yes, we are just looking for freedom. You know? So many similarities. Like I said, Hideo Kojima took so many ideas from the real world, the government issues, you know, nuclear war, just civil wars all around the world, and fitted it into a game that I think a lot of people missed. Well,
I mean, you yourself sat there completely flabbergasted by...
Oh yeah, the entire story is just ludicrous.
But it's no different than any crazy CIA James Bond, you know, story that you'd see in a film somewhere. It just spans the course of 9 games and 30 years. And should actually be as convoluted as that, because we're looking at a...
Yeah.
You know, you can't just take the first... Like, the first game's very simple, of a soldier infiltrating a base and defeating the bad guy. And if they'd ended it there, then you've really, really got it really simple. But
that game worked because it had great characters, great gameplay.
Oh yeah,
it was innovative.
It was
new and fresh, and
sold very well. That, you know, people wanted another one and another one, and the story had to just keep developing to the point that I completely agree with you and everybody else in the comment section that I know everything I said and think makes complete nonsense to everybody else. But to me, after playing all 9 games and even other games in the series that weren't even on consoles, they were on PlayStation Portables and you know, just arcade Xboxes and stuff, like it does make sense.
Yeah,
that there's this evil Illuminati clandestine group in the background controlling everything.
Yeah,
and secretly there's a stealth operative somewhere ready to sneak into a base and take it down.
Well, that was it. I mean, the character of Solid Snake was great. Like, he was a great character. And then Hideo Kojima went, I'm going to give you that. I'm just going to give you Raiden.
But man, you get to play as Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 4, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I know,
you know,
but
the optic camouflage suit's amazing.
That's 3 or 4 games in a decade later.
They tried an idea and it didn't work. But then, in fairness, bringing back in Metal Gear Solid 3, when you get to wear the Raiden mask, and it turns out that the main boss of Metal Gear Solid 3 has a gay relationship with the Raiden-esque character. You get these in-jokes that the game developer, like Hideo Kojima, heard all the internet hatred and went, all right, I'm going to put it in there.
Right.
You know, I mean,
I'm going to give you Snake, put another one.
Yeah, but I'm going to give you Big Boss instead. I even pushed myself to play Metal Gear Solid Revengeance, which was the sword game.
Yeah.
You know, I remember it came out, and I think it was out with the Kinect or some kind of motion sensor. Oh, look, I can chop a melon in half. I was like, that's not Metal Gear, fuck that. But everyone was like, yeah, but it looks amazing. I'm like, it's not Metal Gear. And then it was released and nobody played it. I played it. As a Metal Gear fan, I played it.
So what is Metal Gear, Iain?
Metal Gear
Metal Gear
is the name of the walking battle tank.
Okay, but so you know, cutting up a watermelon is definitely not Metal Gear then.
It's not. And it was Konami's way of saying, look, we can do this without Kojima's input.
And how successful have they been without?
Not really. I mean, well, how successful has Kojima been since his departure?
Well, he's kind of on his own now, and so people aren't really pulling any punches when it comes to criticizing his work.
Like, well, they never have, really. They've hit it, like, they've gone full frontal all the time.
Yeah, there are definitely the naysayers, especially those that hate on the fact that he's probably in the Guinness Book of Records for having the longest cut sequences in any video game ever.
Oh yeah, and
to the point where, you know, you'll put the controller down, the controller will turn off, and the game will say, are you still playing?
Yeah.
In the middle of a cutscene.
Yeah, yeah, and you want to hit start and hit skip, but you haven't seen this sequence all the way through.
Not with convoluted stories like that. Can you dare skip it?
But then again,
You'll wake up with a different character in a different location.
With the release of like Death Stranding, and this is what got me excited with what he was going to do with Silent Hill. That his idea, his mind would work so well with that.
It's wonderfully mental.
But Konami once again messed with him, and they'd been messing with him since 1987, which I think was just researching
for quite a lot.
Was just so amazing that like Konami just kept messing up.
I was going to say it now in case I forget.
Yeah.
Fuck Konami.
That's how I kind of also felt, but they also...
It's for what they did to my Silent Hill franchise.
Yeah.
Yet alone what they did to your Metal Gear franchise.
Well, my Metal Gear franchise is finished, that's why I'm so happy. It's...
Kojima... Well, so for Kojima's Metal Gear is, so therefore...
There's nothing more you can do with Metal Gear. That like the story has been told, and I'm like, if you add anything else, you are going to rupture it.
Well, they're not adding anything to it. They're just cashing in on it by making mindless games based in it.
Weirdly enough, bringing up Metal Gear Survive, which came out in 2018, I've not looked at. I saw the trailer and I was like, go away. It's kind of the same way I felt with Death Stranding. I was like, no, I don't really want to play it. They kind of look exactly the same. But weirdly enough, researching this, there was a point where, I think it was Metal Gear Solid 3, Hideo Kojima wanted to put zombies into a Metal Gear game.
Sure.
And everybody went, no, that's an absolutely stupid idea. We don't want you doing that. You completely ruin it. So he's like, all right, okay, I won't.
Quick, fire him so we can put zombies in his game.
Yet, weirdly enough, Metal Gear Survive is basically Metal Gear Solid 5, but with zombies in.
Well, yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, so it was there already, but they're just trying to cash in on it. In Metal Gear Solid 3 as well, there was a brilliant, like, Hideo Kojima really loves fucking with the audience when it comes to games. You know, and there was this one where I had got to the torture sequence in the game and been put in a prison cell, and I had to save it and turn it off.
Right.
And then I came back to it after a short amount of time. When I loaded up, the game went to the menu, fine. I hit start, fine. Load game, fine. And it went to this weird zombie black and white game. I know.
What?
I know. That's exactly what I was like. And I was like, did somebody leave the wrong game in there?
Right.
You know, and I'm like, I eject the game out, and I'm like, no. And I put the game back in and load it all up again, and it goes back to the zombie game. And I'm like, what the hell is this? So I run around. I've got 2 swords. I'm slicing zombies up left and right. And then after about 5 or 10 minutes, the game just loads up, and Snake wakes up in the cell. And it was a dream.
What?
That whole demo game thing was just a whole dream in the game. And you couldn't go back to it, because once after that, I saved it and just carried on. But I was like,
that never happened.
That's just so amazing. Little things like that just made the game so enjoyable. I mean, I was saying it to Dylan as well. He's massively got into Metal Gear Solid after watching me play it.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I love Red Dead Redemption so much is because of the open worldness that I got from Metal Gear Solid 5. You know, and this ability to be able to sneak around this sandbox world.
Yeah.
And just take out whoever I wanted whenever I wanted.
Sure.
It's just, yeah. I don't know how long have we gone for? Like, I mean...
Oh, well, just we still got about 5 minutes, so I don't know if you want to say what your favourite game in the franchise is, who your favourite character or favourite moment.
Well, yeah, I've got my
favourite boss.
I did get a top 10 moment, so I will just reel them through, really, as we come for a wind down.
But I won't interrupt.
There's some that you might actually jump in as, because there's a few that you know. Number 10 is playing as Solid Snake in Sons of Liberty, while other people were playing as Raiden. It's a shout out to Andy, because we were living together at the time, and he went to his room to play Metal Gear Solid 2, and I went to mine, and I started as Snake on the tanker, and he started as Raiden on Big Show. And we spoke to each other straight after, and he was like, who the fuck's Raiden? And I'm like, who's Raiden?
Yeah, who's Raiden?
You know, and he's like, what do you mean you're playing as Snake? And it was the fact that Kojima had set the game up so well that you could actually play as different characters to start off. It was brilliant. Number 9, being told to turn off the computer. It happened in the NES version, and it also happened in the Metal Gear Solid 2, where the game starts to glitch towards the end, and the kernel tells you just to turn it off. You know? game's over, you can just turn it off. It's just game you're playing, and you get kind of you feel like you should, like you feel like it's something you should do. You know, like what? If, like I want to know if there were kids back in the 80s playing Metal Gear, getting towards the end. You know, no save feature, and it coming up, big boss coming up and telling you, "Here, mission's over. Turn off the game." And a kid going, "Okay," and losing their complete. Number 8, the codec frequencies being on the game.
Yeah.
The first time I played Metal Gear Solid was I had a copy of it.
Oh yeah, so you were screwed.
Yeah, as soon as it came up telling me to look for Meryl's code.
Yeah.
No idea, because there was no internet back then either. So people's search for you had to go out and buy the magazine, or you had to go to the shop.
Passed around the playground.
Yeah, you know, this is it. It's on the back. It's just brilliant. Number 7, the boss fights from Metal Gear Solid 3. The End, who is the sniper.
Yeah. Class.
And
that was very good. Very well done.
And the Sorrow, which is the river boss.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good moments.
Like, taken into account, like I said, the game was Hideo Kojima was telling you to avoid enemies, and if you didn't get it by this point, walking up that river after you'd killed all those people and just seeing all the ghosts there, it's freaking terrifying.
All the snakes,
you know, yeah, and all the animals. And so then playing through the game again as best as you can without avoiding, and having the river just empty, it's just it's absolutely phenomenal. And the fact that you had to use your revive pill.
Right, yeah, because I remember you were stumped there for hours.
I was stumped there for hours. I was stuck. Number 6, watching Meryl's ass in Metal Gear Solid.
You didn't have a choice, really.
Well, yeah, and it was the fact that it was the first time for me that the soldiers could look different as well. So when you're just searching around in first person mode and you're like, and then how many times did you chase her to the bathroom to catch her in her underwear?
I don't recall, but I do remember if you looked at her with a camera, she would notice. Yeah,
she would blush.
Yeah.
And I always kind of wanted Snake and Meryl to get together, but actually, playing Metal Gear Solid 4 and her falling in love with the soldier that she beats up in the game, that was actually a better story. So, big shout out to Johnny Saskia there. You know, the diarrhea man. He's the guy who shits himself all the time. Number 5, the Shaggerhad boss battle in Metal Gear Solid 3. The Shaggerhad was the first real developed Metal Gear, but it wasn't really, because it was a hovercraft tank. Shaggerhad. It was designed to fly down a aircraft runway, and once it reached 300 miles per hour, it would launch its nuclear missile off its back.
Back in time.
No. This one is set in 1963, but it's, you know, it was Kojima's way of trying to break the mold of Metal Gear always being a 2-legged battle tank. You know, we'll make it so it's actually a different
type on wheels.
Thing. Yeah, it's on a hovercraft. But the battle sequence, you're being chased by it, and you're on a bike. Eva, one of the characters, is driving the bike. Now, if you are staying first-person mode, you can fight and shoot at it. But when you are in third-person mode, the game's obviously in static camera.
Okay.
But the placement of the static camera was just so well done, so like 80s action-packed, that you didn't want to flick back to first-person mode to shoot at the Shaggerhad, because it looked so glorious when tanks were flying around and bridges were being smashed. But you're like, I've got to get back in the first-person mode because the thing's chasing me, and every time it catches up, it hits you and does damage. So you've got to get the rocket launcher out and smack it back. It's just intense. It's just intense. It made Metal Gear Rex's boss battle look.
Well, they would always update themselves, you know, one
just
after another.
Bigger and
bigger and bigger.
You know, the silliest was Philanthropus in the last one. That just got stupid.
What the hell was Philanthropus? I want Shaggerhad and Philanthropus to get it on.
Philanthropus. It actually did have a whip as well. Philanthropus. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there.
Metal Gear.
Number 4, back to Metal Gear Solid 3 again, and that is killing a main character and causing a time paradox. So, for example, when you fight Revolver Ocelot, who is his young counterpart in that game,
right?
If you shoot him, the game ends and it comes up saying time paradox, because he has to be alive for the rest of the story. Yeah, I know, it's
very
amazing.
Very funny.
You know, or killing Snake at any point in the game, saying no, you can't die.
Yeah,
because the story has to continue. It's just brilliant. Number 2 is the Well, no, sorry. Number 3. I missed number 3. Driving Metal Gear Rex in Metal Gear Solid 4. There's a boss battle between Metal Gear Rex and Metal Gear Ray. And you're playing a Solid Snake in Metal Gear Rex, smashing into Metal Gear Ray being driven by Liquid Ocelot. And it's, like we said, PS3, graphically, it's just 2 mechs going at it, missiles and explosions.
Robot Wars.
It just was everything you wanted and you just didn't want to let it go. But, the mechs have to die and it has to progress. The story has to go into another hour-long cut sequence to explain what you're doing.
Yeah.
Number 2, the open world mechanics of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Very good, yeah.
Afghanistan. I don't think I'm ever going to go in my life. But I've spent hours running around those mountains and the hills. When you come across an outpost, like your objective is like miles across the map. But you want to take out that outpost because it will help you in the future.
Sure.
But there's 5 guys there. Do you want to take them out with all your heavy weapons and sniper them, or do you want to tranquilize them? Do you want to interrogate them, get information from them? The game had this whole management mechanic that Kojima had developed over a course of a number of games. That was just... It was repetitive, I will admit. Mm-hmm. But as a Metal Gear Solid fan, I did not freaking care.
Sure, right.
If I picked up another bunch of diamonds and biological material, it was fine. Because the challenge of getting it was worth it. If I could take out those 6 guys without being spotted.
Yeah.
Or... Like, I had to stop Dylan from playing Metal Gear Solid 5 for a while. Because I had done everything. Completed everything. I hadn't S-ranked everything. I just developed as much as I wanted to and then stepped away.
Sure.
So Dylan is stepping into an open world Metal Gear Solid game armed to buggery.
Yeah. It's got all the toys.
It's got all the toys. And I come back onto it after like a week or something to play. And there was a morale system in the game.
Okay.
The more people you helped, the better you looked. The more people you killed, the more evil you looked. And I come back into the game and Snake is just looking evil as hell. Head to toe, covered in blood. He's not showered for weeks. He's got PTSD. Like, the soldiers at Mother Base just won't even look at him because he... And I'm like, what have you been doing? And, like, I looked and...
Dylan was... You're out of ammo for your RPG.
Yeah, well, he had the infinite bandana, so it didn't matter. Right. But I'm watching him and he's like, Dad, look what I can do. And there's like a one low guard, an outpost, and he drops a tank on him because he's called in the tank to be dropped off. And then he's jumped in the tank and driven the tank in and blown up the whole base. And then jumped out and blown up the tank because, well, we've got 5 more at base. We don't need that.
Right on.
And I'm like, no. So I had to stop Dylan from playing it and then told him he could only go back and play it in stealth.
So he's earned it himself.
So then I had to watch him use tranquilizer sniper rifles.
That's not very fun, is it?
Which I was quite proud of, actually. He's like, Dad, watch this shot. And then just hitting a guy from range. Guy's gone to sleep. Love it. And my number 1 top favourite Metal Gear moment is, and it might sound a bit corny, but I don't care, I wrote it down, is completing them.
Oh.
Completing every single one. There's a tear in my eye, sorry. After years, like I said, after trying to play the first one on the NES and just not being able to do it, I was able to get the MSX version on the Xbox 360 version of Metal Gear Solid. And so I managed to play Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 for the first time and completed both those.
Right.
Loved them. They were groundbreaking for their time, Metal Gear Solid, amazing. Metal Gear Solid 2, even better. It takes like 3 or 4 playthroughs to get it.
Sure.
It's like the Colonel Sanders guy at the end of Matrix Revolutions. When he's sitting there explaining to Neo how many times they've done this playthrough.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like that. Completing Metal Gear Solid 3, completing Metal Gear Solid 4, Phantom Pain. The story is just brilliant. It takes hours to go through and to understand, but I personally want to say it's one of the greatest game series of all time. But it has a lot of competitors. You have your Resident Evils.
Well,
I'm
just talking about games that are in the style of Metal Gear.
Stealth games, yeah. Stealth games haven't really come close, apart from maybe Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell came very, very close to knocking Solid Snake off the top, sorry.
To an extent, I think it did. I think Splinter
For a
Cell
while.
had a bit of a wider appeal because it didn't go full overboard zany with its characters and story and setting. But
Yeah.
at the same time, that quirkiness is something I love about Kojima.
Yes.
Which just makes the Metal Gear stuff that much more fascinating and interesting, even if it is completely, ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun than Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
And so you can see why there's
It's
a place for both.
It's that age-old thing, though, isn't it? People were getting a bit tired of Kojima. Splinter Cell comes out, and they're like, "Oh, go!"
It's a bit more grounded.
Kojima, come back! We want to see what you can do. And so he does it, and they're like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
And then something else comes out, and they're like, "Oh, Kojima!" And so I think that's what I also love about the series as well, is that he wasn't too. Konami forced him into a niche, yes, but it wasn't like he was owned by EA,
Sure.
knocking out something every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It took time for him to develop.
And
his
he was
game.
given the freedom to do it.
Yeah, and every time his game came out, it harkened onto a new technology he was working on. It brought in new things from the media that we were up to. It brought it, like I said, Metal Gear Solid 2 is one of the biggest turning points, I feel, because what we're looking at, 2001, 2002, the digital age would explode.
Sure.
And I still remember Solid Snake standing there at the end giving me this big speech and not understanding it, but now looking back at it going, it's kind of like he knew what was going to happen.
Right.
It would happen later on with his other games. Like, he kind of knew he was going to leave at some point.
Right.
And he was going to hand it off, but he had to finish it off.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he did. And I don't know how much more I can say about one of the greatest game series of all time.
No, Ian, take a bow. I feel enlightened into the world of Metal Gear Solid. I still don't feel like I have a full grasp of the narrative. But, the characters and the games, they're all iconic. It's definitely a part of gaming history.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so with that, I'll bring this segment of the podcast to a close. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back momentarily to answer your questions. Let's do it. The final hour. The last part.
That's a good picture, but I kind of fancy the Michael Benn picture now.
The who? Oh, the
Michael
Michael
Biehn
Oh, the
one.
original one. Yeah.
From the NES.
Yeah. I was just looking for the highest resolution image.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it's impossible really to get a non-copyright one. But I'm like, well, we change it and cover it and do-dar it anyway. But...
You know what I'm like? I'm a nerd. I'm like, oh, we should do that now.
Well, maybe you should start doing the thumbnails.
Wait, dude, calm down. Jesus.
Alright.
Go back in my corner.
I chose now to go live.
Do you need to sneeze?
Probably.
What up, Hypnosilic Dreams? What up, Josh? What up, Boss? What up, Raw Flash? I'm trying to remember who else is in here. What up, Linda? What up, Zane? What up, Jay? What up, Silver Spike? I saw Silver Spike at one point. What up, you? Yeah, you. Saw you right in there. We're not live, are we?
We're live, but we're just.
What up, Damo?
This is pre-podcast. I'm just making sure we're still.
What up, TC?
Still on. Plus, your.
What's your thoughts on the Metal Gear series?
No, please.
Having a laugh.
No, please.
That's all I got to say about that.
Troy? What? Troy Total War? Troy 2? Troy?
Yeah. As a fan of Troy.
Troy Next Door? Troy McClure?
Troy McClure. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. Troy Tempest. See, people keep saying that other one from Josh 72456, but I'm not seeing many trailers at the moment.
For what?
Like films, for new films coming out. I think it's because I'm not watching TV, so I'm not seeing
trailers.
Well,
yeah, that'd be the thing.
So then,
you hardly go to the cinema, Ian, and they don't show trailers at the front of Wikipedia. So that's probably why.
Pow! Oh, Ian's out for the question.
Didn't even take their gloves off.
That was. Whoa. Oh, man, I felt that, right? Oh. Connie, let's get it ready. We're wasting all of our good material in this section.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, it's for these guys. They're all live, though. This is all recorded. This is recorded.
Yeah, I'll go into the annals of time.
Everyone has a newfound respect for you, Gary.
Really? That's not that bad, Ian. It's not that bad.
Problem, you two Libras.
It's dangerous, Ian.
Pure scorpion.
Dangerous territory.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the third part of the podcast where we will be answering your questions.
Yes.
And so straight away I can see there is a question from Boss.
Hey, Boss.
Asking if I'm looking forward to Troy being a fan of the Total War series.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I played the very first Total War game.
Yeah.
And then I've played the most recent one, which is Total War Warhammer 2.
Right.
So I've missed like 10 games in between. You know, and all of the expansion ones, like the Genghis Khan one, the feudal Japanese ones.
I think you're not really missing much. They're all the same. Just
well, it's the same game over the years. The graphics get better, the models, the animations, the music, the sound effects.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not really looking forward to Troy. I think because I really liked the Kingdom Under Fire franchise, and I loved, I've mentioned Command and Conquer in the past, and my Dungeon Keeper.
Yeah.
I'm getting everything that I want out of Total War Warhammer 2, with all of the mythology of all of the Warhammer stuff, which is so rich and deep as it is anyway.
Yeah.
Like you can just go on an offshoot. I've literally gone down the YouTube rabbit hole and just people have made hour-long videos on some of the lords that are in Warhammer, and just telling you all about their backstory from the books and from the gameplay.
So I could say like Archaon to you, and you'd know who I was talking about.
No.
Yeah. Oh right. So what about Sigmar and the Two-Tailed Comet?
I know.
No.
Sigmar is Skaven?
No, Sigmar is the bloody Bretonnians. They're the humans. God,
I'm still learning.
No, he's still learning. Yeah.
It's also been a long time because it's been since, I don't know, when I was like 14, 15 playing Warhammer Quest.
But you know,
which is all set in the Warhammer universe.
I mean, you're playing as the Skaven and the Lizard, so you're learning a lot about them, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah.
They're not really interesting. Space Marines.
But other than doing the real world stuff, I'm not that fussed about the Troy one. I mean, I like the Troy story. I like the Troy movie, the Troy Story.
I like Troy Story 3. The end of the Troy Story 3 was really good.
I don't know. Barbie as Helen though, she wasn't that great.
Well, you keep saying Troy, and I keep thinking Orlando Bloom.
Right.
Yeah, versus Brad Pitt. That's all I'm thinking at the moment.
Yeah. So we got a question from Hannah.
Hey, Hannah.
I think it's a question we've answered before, but it's always good to answer it again. It's one that's going to pop up.
Yeah.
But Ian, what is your favourite Disney film?
Well, I mean, not counting the Marvel movies.
Favourite Disney
Because
film?
they're Disney.
It is. Well, it's a Disney film now, so it's just that's it.
Black Hole.
Yeah.
Sword in the Stone. I want to say Avengers Endgame.
Avengers Endgame. Very good.
You know.
For me, I just always go old school whenever I get asked the favourite Disney question. I never really consider the live action stuff either.
Herbie. You like Herbie?
Yeah, I love the Love Bug. Yeah. But it's Pinocchio, Sword in the Stone, Jungle Book, Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah, Robin Hood. Shit.
Yeah.
Robin Hood's really good.
I know you
Robin
love
Hood.
Sword in the Stone as well.
They're not the traditional stories, like Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella. Like I was like, hey, be a princess, woohoo, sing the dwarves. But then Sword in the Stone, it's got a great Arthur story. Like I think that one's better than Excalibur, really. And I'll jump in there. And this, I mean, the Robin Hood is definitely the better Robin Hood next to Men in Tights. I think. Definitely
We've
better.
got a question from Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Ian, can you show everyone the expression you give when you walk in from work and try to guess what I'm watching, but can't? I'm sure everyone that's just listening.
Sorry. But my expression is more of a puzzled, I came in from work, and like I said, Linda's been watching stuff on the TV on Netflix, and I came in and I looked at this film, and immediately I'm trying to pinpoint time, place, actor, and I just couldn't at all.
Yeah.
The film, what gave it away immediately was it was on Netflix, so obviously it had been made that day. So I didn't actually have much of a history. But at the same time, I didn't recognize any of the actors in the film, and I was just like, what? I haven't wikied this. And if I haven't wikied this, then it doesn't exist. But it must exist because there it was. And as soon as Linda paused it and it's like, oh, it's the shadow of the moon. And as soon as I saw that, phone came out.
Wikipedia.
Oh,
how does it end?
I just wikied it in like 10 minutes while I eat my tea. It's great. And watched it at the same time. So
okay, we got a question from Josh 72456.
Hey, Josh.
What about you, Gary? Any films you're looking forward to this year? Ooh.
Go on, hit us up, because you're probably already all over it.
I was only thinking this the other day. I was just like, what actual films am I looking forward to this year?
What's coming out? Tell me what's coming out. Like Wonder Woman's out this year?
Yeah, Wonder Woman, but I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it. It might be good, it might be bad. I'm looking forward to
Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters 3. I'm looking forward to Dune.
Dune's out?
Yeah, new Dune movie.
Wow.
Yeah,
this year. Did not hear about that one. Have you seen the trailer for Underwater with Kristen Scott?
I have seen the trailer for it, and I started the trailer for it,
right,
and I switched the trailer off immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to watch this.
I wikied it.
Okay, well, I also don't want to know what you've read.
I know, but you need to watch
it. Yes, I know. I knew that from the moment I looked at the poster, and I was like,
but it's not out yet. The trailer's like...
Well, it's out in America.
Yeah, and
but yeah, it's not out here yet, so it's just like, we're going to be patient, I've got to wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like Color Out of Space.
Yeah, that's
it's out in America, but it's not out here yet. It's actually out. I think it came out yesterday.
Yeah.
But I was like,
I'll wiki that one again.
I'm gonna watch Star Trek Picard instead
Okay.
because I can't be asked to go to the cinema at this hour.
Yeah, especially Nicolas Cage at that time of night.
Yeah. But well, I don't know. I think that's the best time for Nicolas Cage.
Well, if you don't want to sleep for the next 3 hours,
right?
you know.
Yeah. But no, I'm still really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I mean, but that's out almost immediately.
So Ghostbusters, Dune,
For films,
Top Gun 2. Is
Oh
that
yeah,
out
Top
this
Gun
year?
Maverick. Yeah, that's out this year.
Out this year. There'll probably be a new Mission Impossible out by October. Toy
Yeah.
Story probably out in September.
Bill and Ted 3.
Bill and Ted 3.
Quiet Place 2.
Yeah.
Godzilla vs Kong.
I still haven't seen the first one of Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place. I mean, it's not great. I mean, I'm not like super looking forward to it. There's very little that I'm super looking forward to. Like 2019 when that rolled around, I was like, oh my god, Avengers Endgame. Oh my god, Game of Thrones season 8. You know.
Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh my god, Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just awful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm keeping my excitement to a minimum, I think, going forward. But yeah, sometimes the nostalgia button gets pressed, and I'm like, oh, Ghostbusters, please. Like, don't hurt me again.
Oh, I feel people are going to get hurt with that movie.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Next question.
Hypnocytic Dreams question for Gary.
Hey, Hypnocytic Dreams.
Given the critical praise Uncut Gems has received, do you think it could change your opinion of He Who Shall Not Be Named?
Yes!
Or is that impossible at this point? Well, it is impossible, Hypnocytic, because I ain't gonna watch it. I don't give
I was amazed.
a flying fuck if that film picks up the Oscar for
Get
Best
him.
Director, Best Writer,
Get him.
Best Cinematographer, Best fucking... It could be a sci-fi movie, and Adam Sandler could have given the best performance ever.
You set him off. You set him
I
off.
don't give a fuck. I ain't gonna watch it.
Oh, man, we ain't getting no advertising on this video now, are we? Well, if you fucking dropped it, I fucking drop one as well. I was really fucking surprised an Adam Sandler movie dropped. Like, it was like, oh, look, Uncut Gems. And it was a picture of him, and he was on a phone. And I'm like, it just looks like a picture of him walking down the
Paparazzi
street. Like, you know, oh, it's a still from his new movie. I'm like, what? He's just walking down the street? Oh, it's got jewels, and he's a Jew. Again, oh, okay. Like, I see where this is going. And it's probably going to be out on Netflix. And then as soon as I read it, I was like, I can't wait to see Gary's face for this. So
I was like, oh, so all is fucking forgiven then, is it? Because he made this one good movie.
Is it good though, or is the people? I mean,
I don't know. In comparison to the other shit he made,
Exactly.
it probably is very good.
like you're probably the wrong person to ask. But do we know what the story is? Because is it a drama or a comedy or? You don't give a fuck. I know
I don't
you
know. I don't know.
Like I shouldn't ask him. I shouldn't even look at him right now while I'm talking about this.
Because I will burn a hole through your face with hatred.
Like he understands Metal Gear more than he understands why Adam Sandler keeps making movies. Yeah, I did come up with an idea of how we can review the next Adam Sandler movie because we do have one coming up.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if we want to talk about it now or secretly because it is a quite cool idea, or if you want.
Well,
to throw it to the audience.
I already.
I know you said
asked somebody to sit in my place.
Yeah, well, I also thought that if it obviously comes up again, because it probably will, then you could get like a vegetable, like a turnip, and carve like a face on it. You know, like Tom Hanks does in Castaway, and just put it on the chair.
Yeah.
You know, because that's how the films make you feel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I told the Patreon when they signed up and just went, my request is this Adam Sandler movie. You know, and I sent back a picture of my penis. No, I didn't.
Oh, I was going to say. No, I'm just going to move over here.
No, I literally said to the person, I was like, look, at the end of my last video, I said I'm never going to review another Adam Sandler movie again.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to stick to it.
You
I'm
have
not going to break.
man. You've got to stick with your guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I do admit, Wedding Singer is fine film. 50 First Dates, it's fine film.
Yeah.
You know, but I just don't
Billy
care.
Madsen's
I just don't care to create any more content with him in it,
Well,
because of the amount of stuff that he's done that's wasted my time.
But then saying that, as a show, obviously, you know, I am fine with reviewing as many Adam Sandler movies, but please, by all means, if you are going to, you know, obviously donate to the show and your request is a movie starring the one and only Adam Sandler, be aware that Gary probably will not be in the review. You know, we'll work on it and edit it and make some jokes out of it and all that kind of stuff, but I'll probably end up talking to somebody else, a cat, a carrot, you know, like you'll probably just sit there like this.
Yeah.
Like for it.
Yeah.
You probably won't even watch the film.
No,
he
not
will
going
not
to.
watch the film. He will not watch the film.
I'm not going to.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it twice. Once for him and once for me.
I mean, it's the reason why. It's 'cause, I mean, I'm also going to have to ask you to edit that video as well, because that's the real problem.
Yeah, man, we work together. We work to do it. That's how we do it.
Is that when we get a video like that, and it's like, okay, it's Adam Sandler. You know, if you just got to watch the film, then do the recording for the film. It's then spending 8 to 20 hours with the film afterwards, editing it. That is that is when, you know, you don't see it because we got stressed out just watching it, but then you spend all that extra time with it.
The artistic flow, that's what I find. I mean, don't you find that you can, like, you can be honest with that film.
Yeah.
You can be honest with it. And if that means that they have to see sequences of just, like, people watch The Angry Video Game Nerd.
Oh, yeah.
He's done some nasty stuff. You could probably do nasty stuff too. Next question. We're going dark places now.
We got a question from Daniel Campbell.
Hey, Daniel.
Would both of you like to see either another Killer Clowns from Outer Space film, or would you prefer a TV series instead?
I want to say film, but I feel like a Netflix TV series would work.
10-part, 1 season special.
Yeah.
You know, not multiple seasons, just a one.
Yeah, because
extended.
That's pretty much how the film would be.
Unless it was really good, then you'd maybe do a second season. But
no, because you start to go into the bad territory with like Tremors, where you bring like in a good clown, you know, who tries to help the town defeat it, and then you bring in like other things. I don't know. Would you update it to like more gorier 2000s kind of death sequences, or
I would
you keep it 80s?
I would definitely up the gore count. I would definitely show people being melted inside in the candy,
and keep it kind of Stranger Things.
But I would
80s,
also keep it very 80s. The exact same type of costumes, so that they, you know, it looks the same. Up the gore, but then also up like the gimmicks that the clowns do. You know, using clown things, you know, just the same again, but just up it, up the ante, and up the invasion more, maybe Mars Attack style. That many clowns.
That's where you bring in season 2. The first one was just the scout ship, and then season ends with like multiple ships in orbit above this town. Yeah.
We've got a question from Boss.
Hey, Boss.
Are you interested in 1917, or perhaps you've already seen it? Favorite war movie? Otherwise, me and Jess were supposed to have seen 1917 like twice this week, but both times we were waiting for Jeff to give us the time that we'd go and see it, and then we both like, Jeff's not that interested. We'll just go.
Yeah.
And then I've been slightly ill this week, under the weather, and so we missed it this week. So next week.
I bet you the war ends.
Well, yeah, it's a factual piece of.
But have you heard the background kind of hatred to one of the actors, or Lawrence Fox?
No,
I don't know if anybody else has seen this on the news. There's a British actor, Lawrence Fox, who he was he was in The Hole back in the 90s with Keira Knightley, and he was in Lewis, the TV series.
Yeah,
and he's come with some kind of backlash where he mentioned about the Sikh soldiers that were shown in the movie.
Sure.
You know, is Hollywood's way of kind of trying to be politically racist. He tried to make out that putting the focus on them took away the focus from the story. And so a lot of people have kicked off to say, well, actually, you're wrong because you don't realize how many Sikh and Indian soldiers were in, how many multiracial people were at World War One. It wasn't just a bunch of white English
guys.
boys going over there and fighting for old Tommy, and I haven't seen the film yet. I mean, I get the concept is two friends or brothers trying to take a message to stop an ambush.
Okay, I have no idea what the
a lot of people
is
dying. So it's it's like a World War One Saving Private Ryan, I suppose.
Sure,
but I did see one sequence where there was one sequence where they're running across this battlefield and just the scale of it looked
cool.
Pucker.
But your favorite war movie though?
Casualties of War.
Das Boat.
I mean, I always go to Vietnam.
Sure.
The first thing
that's understandable.
I always think of Platoon first.
Yeah.
But then
Platoon always jumps in. Full Metal Jacket, Saving Private Ryan.
But Casualties of War is like kind of the real side of war.
Sure.
Saving Private Ryan's really good, but still very Spielbergish.
Yeah. But I mean, there's nothing like that opening sequence. Well, it's not the opening sequence, but the beach landing you always remember is the opening sequence.
Well, then again, I mean, Longest Day with John Wayne. That's pretty damn good.
It's pretty damn good, but it didn't capture that moment, that beach landing moment, like Saving Private Ryan does.
Well, the beach landing is pretty good, but you got that clicking sequence from Longest Day.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Just the tension, just the quiet there, and the tension building up. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Casualties of War.
Very good, very good. I've got a question from Will Sherritt.
Hey, Will Sherritt.
Did you ever see Street Trash It Melts? If not, what is your favourite VHS from the pound bin? That is, awful, but still holds a place in your heart.
Street Trash. He's talking about Street Trash, the one that we did.
Yeah. I'm just like, Street Trash It Melts. I'm like, is that the sequel? Is that a side
I don't think there was a
prequel?
Sequel, but we did do Street Trash, the movie where we couldn't work out what the plot line was.
Well, you had the Vietnam guy, and then there was
cutting penises off.
Yeah.
And then you had the cop who was trying to take down the Vietnam guy.
Yeah.
You had
and at the same time there was the
brothers. You had the two brothers. One of them was always getting himself into trouble and trying to get out because he wanted to get his brothers off the street.
You had the mechanic.
Was there a mechanic?
Yeah.
They were drinking and melting.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah. Because you had like the big fat guy who had the new receptionist or whatever. Does he have a heart attack on top of her?
Oh God,
but he was just faking it.
He owns the junkyard.
The junkyard, that's it. Not a mechanic, a junkyard.
Where the friggin' Vietnam veteran lives. God, I haven't seen that film in ages.
No, not since we reviewed it have I seen it. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it. It's not on the to-do list.
I wonder if there's a Blu-ray.
Probably is by now, yeah.
Imagine that penis sequence in Blu-ray.
In Blu-ray. Oh, I'd watch it again now.
I just remembered his girlfriend.
What would you say is your favourite VHS from the dollar bin?
There's some good films in the dollar bin, actually.
Sometimes.
You could find like a Nightmare on Elm Street 4 or 5 in there. Maybe a Friday the 13th 7.
I can't think of I think the last film that I purchased from the dollar bin was like the original Hellboy. Yeah.
Yeah. I always try to avoid the dollar bin because they were usually just shit movies that I just didn't
really bad.
Like really, really bad. But no, I'm just gonna go with Street Trash. Street Trash was shit.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got a question from Rich Morton.
Hey, Rich.
Do you guys think the studios are trying to tank these high-dollar franchises on purpose? The level of failure and the amount of failure so close together is looking really suspicious.
This is all you. I mean, this is high-dollar franchise.
Hell
companies,
yeah! Like Terminator is bombed. Game of Thrones bombed. Star Wars is bombed. Star Trek is bombed. Predator is bombed. Aliens is like every major franchise that we've loved from the 80s has come back and died, except for Karate Kid, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, but
everything else has been shit.
the scary.
And then smeared shit. Like even Jurassic Park is fucking shit.
The thing is, I try to agree, and then I'm thinking, are they trying to do something new?
They're trying to kill the old.
Yeah, they're trying to kill
bring
the
in
old,
the new.
which
is the same old, but new.
Yeah. Funny enough, I mean, I know you probably won't agree with me, but this does take me back to the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Oh.
Because of them trying to do the same thing over and over again in the story and within the games. You know, but just upping the special effects, upping the controls. You know, talking about, the new Terminator movie. You know, and how it was supposed to be one thing and then it was another, but they brought it back and ruined it because it's like, oh hey, we're selling it because we're bringing Linda Hamilton back and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then it makes no sense of why they're there. It just makes no sense. You know, I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but for years everyone was like, watch it, and I was like, I'll wait because I want to see how it ends. I want to see if it's worth the wait. And then it's like, no, it's not. And I was like, why? Because they shoved all these characters in there and then didn't explain why they were there. You know, Predator. I was avoiding Predator like the plague. You know, and then they just do stuff without explaining it. But part of me can't help and buy the fucking DVD when it comes out, or go to the cinema and watch it and still pay for the franchise, hoping that something will come about.
Yeah. I still have hope. Yeah, I'm not going to completely give up on the Hollywood system, you know, especially after all the cherished memories we have of all of the films we've loved. And so I was like, just maybe they'll get it right, but even by accident. Like, they have to get it right.
This will make you laugh, right? During the week, I was coming home from work. Linda's in bed watching TV. I look in there. Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is on.
Yeah.
She's just escaping from the hospital. Arnie's just turned up with John Connor.
Yeah.
I died inside, man.
Yeah,
I freaking died. Because I'm just like, what's the point? You might as well just shoot John Connor right now.
He's dead next week.
It means nothing. It really just... Oh. You know, Arnie's just like, I see everything. I was like, really? What about time displacement devices? Are there other Terminators coming through time right now as we speak and you can sense on them?
I know, it's the same feeling that people had with Aliens after Alien 3. Like, how can you rewatch Aliens when you're just like, oh, look, can we sleep now?
Alien 3 is a fucking goldmine compared to what we have now. Alien 3 just... Sorry.
I'm just going to have a quick scan for a question. The dude says...
Oh, hey, the dude.
Have you guys given up on the Resident Evil film franchise? If they decide to keep making more? Well, they are making more. I mean, there's lots of Resident Evil in the pipeline. Yeah. There's the Resident Evil Netflix TV series.
Oh, and yes.
There is a Resident Evil movie at Sony in the works. So, and I believe... Well, I need to get my facts right. So this is just what I've heard. I've heard about both projects.
Yeah.
I don't think they're involved with each other, but I think they're both doing the same thing.
Are they involved with Capcom?
I definitely know the Netflix one has to be, because they are doing the Spencer Mansion. They are doing the Netflix TV series. The whole series is Resident Evil 1. The mansion with stars going in there, so you're looking at 8 to 10 episodes, 8 to 10 hours of Resident Evil. So I'm like, that has got me excited. Like the promotional stuff they've released of the mansion and the surrounding area, just from the lighting and the camera angle, I'm like, I can hear it. I can smell the forest.
Hear the crows.
I can hear the crows and the dogs. You know,
if it's anything,
that's got me excited.
If it's anything like what I've seen, what they've put into the Witcher TV series, it'll be friggin' amazing. But at the same time, if they spend
I'm super excited.
If they spend 25 minutes running back and forth with like wooden plaques and looking for music notes, you know. Oh, hi! They come up to a door like, "What's this door?" Hey, there's a shape of a spade on it.
I want a whole episode where they're trying to find the spade key.
Yeah, no, they spend the whole episode looking for the spade key, the shield key, and then it comes to the end where they lose it to a zombie and he just kicks in the door.
I want to see Jill almost become a Jill sandwich. But at the same time, I'm excited to see the monsters again. I'm like, I want to see the tyrant. I want to see the hunters.
They have to
I
get
want
the
to see the
tyrant
zombies. I want to see that house done in a movie. I want to see the snake. And I don't want it to be cheap looking CGI, you know. But this, I am so excited for it. And this is after we've been through all those Resident Evil horror movies.
Oh man,
I call them horror movies.
They're
more like freak sideshow attractions.
I almost watched one. It was on TV at night, and I was flicking through the TV looking for something to go sleep, and it was on a channel, and I was like,
yeah, it's very easy to watch, not think about.
no, because
you're like, there's
Revelations.
lots of very attractive people doing lots of exciting things.
I think it was the prison one, and I was just like, no, I just don't want to see Chris Redfield like that. I just
exactly.
I don't want to see Chris Redfield like that. You know,
right? So. Another quick follow up from the dude saying, "Thanks, Ian and Gary. Another quick question: have you seen the zombie movie I Am the Hero? It's like a more gory Train to Busan."
No, I saw that come up, and I was going to wiki it, but I didn't get the chance.
You didn't have a chance.
So, I mean, if it's Korean and Asian with zombies, then yeah.
No, I haven't seen a zombie movie called I Am the Hero, but yeah interested.
Put that on the list.
Yeah.
I've got a question from friend Megadeth Tom. What is the most bizarre movie synopsis that you have ever read, and did you watch or avoid the movie because of it?
Well, it's like the synopsis I gave for Guns Akimbo earlier. Like that's the synopsis on IMDb, and I'm like, that's nothing. Yeah, like, that doesn't sell you on the film at all, really. So, like, that was a pretty shitty synopsis.
Well,
that on its own would make me not want to watch the film. But other than that, no, I don't. I don't know. It's rare I will read a synopsis.
Like back in the day when you used to read the back of DVDs.
It used to be the tagline.
Yeah, you used to like.
It's not been since then, really.
But obviously, when I get it a lot when I wiki my movies. You know, that's like reading the synopsis.
Yeah.
And like I do get it a lot when I'll read something that is very real and very relatable, like especially if it's dark, sinister shit to deal with families. I'm like, nope, I'm not watching that. But then it's like Mandy. Like I didn't want to watch Mandy. Like I wikied it and I was like, I'm good. I don't need to watch this. I'm just
gonna go around Gary's and hang out for the afternoon.
And it's like, hey, we're gonna watch Mandy, and I'm like, oh, fuck off. But we watched it, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I watched it now. You know. But then again, like you get some stupid horror movies.
Yeah.
Like House.
Right.
You know, where the guy goes round and just moves into his granny's house, and it's just like, oh, it just seems really normal and weird, but with ghosts.
Yeah.
And then you get that Vietnam guy, and you're like,
all right.
Go watch that.
We've got a question from Mongo.
Hey, Mongo.
Have you seen the film Heavy Metal? It's a cartoon adult film.
Yes, I actually only watched this about a week ago. Actually, it was on Netflix.
I haven't seen Heavy Metal since it played in our old local nightclub. It used to play almost every week in the background.
Yeah.
You'd have your drink, you'd come back off the dance floor, and you'd sit there
watching.
And Heavy Metal would just be on this projected screen somewhere. You'd just be like, nah.
It's one of the most awesome animated movies ever. It's got a great soundtrack to it as well. It's basically the story of a green orb, which is the concentrated power of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
And it wants to tell its story to a little girl. And so you then just travel with it through time and space. And it's fucked up. My favourite all time, I mean, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but you should totally watch it if you haven't. It's up there with Wizards and like Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
But my favourite story was always the World War II bomber.
Right, yeah.
And it comes aboard and turns all the dead soldiers that you see get killed into zombies.
Yeah.
And the last pilot has to escape. It's great.
Yeah, great film. I haven't seen it in so long, but it's one I need to revisit again. I'll probably just put it in the background and then play my own soundtrack again.
Yeah. Man, you gotta hear the John Candy moments where you see his characters.
Yeah.
It's like, it's John Candy. So.
We've got a question from Amir Osman.
Hey, Amir.
Are there any films or TV series that you're worried might not live up to their expectations this year?
Amir
is worried about Sonic the Hedgehog and Ghostbusters.
Yes, totally, both of them.
Yeah. I'm hoping that The Boys season 2 will be good. I'm looking forward to Westworld season 3 as well. I'm hoping that's going to be good.
But saying that, I know I don't watch stuff, but it's going to be there for me to watch in the future. And so even if it's really terribly bad on its release, it's going to go to DVD. It's going to go to Netflix, and you're going to watch it because there's going to be a point in your time where you're like, I really don't want to watch the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Sunday afternoon, and you find yourself watching.
If I was to ever end up watching it, it would only because I'd be like, let's watch Jim Carrey in it.
Exactly. I mean, I really worry that Ghostbusters Afterlife is going to suck worse than the female, all female. But, and I put my nuts on a chopping block here, I enjoyed the all-female Ghostbusters movie because it was an all-female Ghostbusters movie. Same as I enjoyed the other two movies because they're all male-cast Ghostbusters movie. But, nostalgically, the first two are like pucker. Like, you cannot beat the Statue of Liberty walking down the street. Then I get Afterlife, which I'm like, okay, are they going to have a moment bigger than the Statue of Liberty walking down the street?
No, they're going to have something very similar.
But is it going to look worse than the shit that happened in the all-girl Ghostbusters? But everyone's going to be like, oh, it's fine. And I'm going to be like, no, it's not. It's not. That worries me.
After seeing the trailer for Ghostbusters, I'm really not worried at all. And I haven't even seen the original cast in the film yet, but I'm already like, I'm pretty sure it's going to at least not suck. So that's why I'm already like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine.
Please don't suck.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm going to be saying to myself the moment I'm walking down to the theater to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. Whether I'm going to fucking float out like a spirit myself.
Dear God.
Die in the seat.
Please make the movies this year just not
suck. Please.
Please just let me enjoy spending money in a cinema and not just wish never to go outside. Like, it's the Patriots, dude. It's how they control us.
That's the AIs.
Yeah, it's the AIs. They make shitty movies. So,
we got a question from Adam Richard Corrigan.
Hey, Adam.
What book or story would you most like to see adapted into film?
Oh, nice, yeah.
For me, I'm going to go with Legend by David Gemmell.
They did that one.
They haven't turned
with
it into
Ridley
a film.
Scott. With a demon.
No, they haven't.
No, I know. I know.
They haven't done the David Gemmell Legend.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Which is the Chronicles of Druss.
Yes.
Or they could do the David Gemmell book trilogy, Waylander. Another great story. I'd also love them to do the Painted Man, or it's also known as the Demon Cycle.
Nice.
By Peter V. Brett.
Yeah.
That would also make a great series. And of course, my default answer to this question, The Dark Tower. Just actually do it properly. Just do it right.
It's funny you say that because mine is World War Z. That would be a great movie adapted from a book into a film.
It probably would be. They should probably get Brad Pitt in there or something.
They should. He should play the lead investigator. He should take
his family. Think there was one.
He should take his family with him as well. Not get a cold, the fucking prick. I would love to see the Horus Heresy books turned into a TV series,
sure,
or a movie.
There are.
But the universe is.
How many Warhammer films are there? None.
One.
There is one.
The Ultramarine movie that they made, which was an animated movie.
An animated movie, okay.
Yeah,
but
it is a commercial.
I mean,
the closest is Starship Troopers.
I am so surprised with a franchise or a company or what would you call it, a product like Warhammer has not spilled into the cinemas.
Well, It's taken.
It has in video games and comics.
Yeah, but it's taken time. It's been around since the 80s, from maybe the late 70s. It's been hiding in the shadows for many of those years because it was shunned by society. It's a nerdish thing to do. It's only until recently that through tournaments and collectors and people like ourselves who have actually grown up to be the voices of the next generation that they're able to branch out and make more games and comic books. I mean, they're all over social media. Games Workshop's social media presence with their models is awesome. They are releasing what appears to be a new animated film.
Hmm.
But
I'm not that interested in it.
The live action stuff has always been quite difficult. I've thought
It's because it needs to be expensive.
Yeah, but like, not really. Remember back in the day, they made games and like Space Hulk and things like that, and you had guys in cardboard suits walking around.
Right.
And that's what you would have now, is cosplayers walking around in cardboard suits.
Yeah.
It wouldn't look... If you got a Space Marine to do what a Space Marine is supposed to do, you wouldn't buy it. It would be Uncanny Valley in your mind without the added feature of CGI. You cannot have a 6-foot actor clad in some kind of armor doing a backflip off the back of a Carnifex, shooting it in the face with a plasma pistol without some kind of CGI.
I'm sure. Well, yeah. Well, of course you'd have to CGI it.
The moment you CGI it,
Yeah.
it becomes unbelievable. And I know this as a fan.
That's why I said you need a lot of money.
As I know this as a fan because reading the Horus Heresy books, this spans the whole back history of the Emperor and the betrayal of the Primarchs, and you think Metal Gear Solid is confusing. The back history of Warhammer 40,000 is just as much, just like the lore for Total Warhammer.
Sure.
And then there's some things that they do on such a massive scale. Like, even my imagination can't even... I still cannot imagine Mars.
Mm.
Because in the 41st millennium, it's basically a forge world. It's covered from all over the surface by machines. But buildings so vast that the Titans that protect them are even bigger. They've got cannons.
Yeah. I know, but there are so many worlds and so much lore and so many characters and factions and species that there are countless amounts. The only thing I can think of that could topple right now the superhero genre is the Games Workshop world, because it is ripe for just expanding with lots of different films.
Yeah, but I think Games Workshop as well has always been very, very careful because they know they could do it, but they know how easily it is to fuck it up.
Yeah.
And how damaging that could be to their franchise. So trickle it out maybe a little bit.
Sure.
Maybe a Netflix TV series of Warhammer.
I don't think Netflix has the budget to do Warhammer.
No, but Games Workshop has.
Yeah.
If they sponsor it.
True. They're going to have to cough up a lot of money.
Yeah.
We got a question from Emily Green.
Hey, Emily.
What are your guys' thoughts on disaster movies like Day After Tomorrow, etc.? Love disaster movies. I watch them all, even if they're shit. I'll watch them.
Yeah. The wife loves disaster movies. You grew up with them.
There's more
70s.
bad ones than good ones.
And they were bad pretty much back in the day, but you still loved them because, all the death and screaming and the explosions and are they gonna live? 2012 is so stupid.
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous.
Run for your life if John Cusack is ever running past you, because he's going to survive.
Did you see the most recent one? Was it Geostorm?
No, I still need to watch it. I think I bought it for Linda on DVD. I think we got it.
I was like, as soon as that was out in UK cinemas, I'm done there.
Yeah.
I want to watch a Giant Storm, Perfect Storm, Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow,
Perfect
2012.
Storm's a really good one.
I even watched some of the foreign language disaster movies as well. Like there was a Danish one, I think, where it was in the fjords.
A Danish After Tomorrow.
Danish After Tomorrow. Mm-mm.
Oh, sorry.
Love that apocalypse cream.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's loads out there. I like. What was the San Andreas, the Rock?
The Rock one, San Andreas.
Pretty terrible, but yeah,
but
still fun.
He was saving the day, right?
I like special effects movies when lots of people die on a grand scale.
Kylie Minogue gets killed in that movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you kind of always fantasize about how the world might end, and these movies, they show it in some form of fashion, whether it's gravity killing you because you're falling from a big height, or whether it's the elements.
But I don't feel worried because the water just recedes.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of each for everyone, as long as you're stood next to John Cusack or The Rock,
then you should be all right.
You'll be all right.
No. If you're stood next to them, you're probably going to die.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah,
because that's how they survive.
Get away from them.
Right.
You're on the other side of the planet. Yeah.
Another question there from Boss.
Hey, Boss.
Do you guys think they're going overboard with the de-aging and/or resurrection in movies? Would it be better if they just changed the actors and actually got better actors? I don't know.
I want to say no, because I wouldn't like to see another person replay it. I do like the de-aging. I'm getting used to it. I like Princess Leia coming back.
Well, it was it was the second
Peter
Tron
Cushing.
movie that just made me go, no, Jeff Bridges, what have they done to your face?
Oh, is that? Yeah,
It was horrible.
They just superimposed
horrible.
his head on top of somebody else's.
But it's gotten better, and it's almost perfect in The Irishman. And I was just on YouTube the other day, and they put Sylvester Stallone as Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone.
Oh God!
It was like a 15. I know, and I'm like, the facial recognition stuff and the deep fakes.
Yeah, I can't watch that stuff.
Are so good.
They're going to ruin movies for me.
They really are, because they're putting Jim Carrey in
The
The
Shining,
and 5 years from now it's going to be saturated with it. It's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Get used to it, because we're going to see it a lot. We're going to, like I've said it, actors in America, they're going to be signing contracts which says, yes, you have permission to use my likeness 300 years from now when you make Star Wars 87, and you need, Obi-Wan fucking whatevery to do the ovary thingy. And you're like, so we need this actor and this actor, which died how many years ago? CGI him, deepfake him, whatever.
Hideo Kojima was talking about it in Metal Gear. They're just going to genetically modify Brad Pitt.
We'll clone them. We'll hologram them.
Yeah.
We don't need to CGI them anymore. We'll just have holograms of them doing it. So it's just like it's going to become more and more prevalent. That we see all these actors that die, and we're like, oh, but I've written this part, and it's really great for De Niro when he was in his Taxi Driver days. No problem.
We'll just bring De Niro back.
De Niro
in.
signed a contract which says we can use his likeness.
Yeah. That is a terrible, horrible thought you
but it's coming, Ian, and that's the way it's going. Well, these actors, no one's ever really gone. No one's ever really gone.
Oh shit!
And that's the real truth of it.
They're gonna come to your house through the internet and be like, why did you not go to the cinema and watch my film?
Like Tom,
who are you? You're dead.
Don't you realise Tom Hanks passed away like 8 years ago?
Oh my God! Don't say that. That's terrifying.
Nobody's noticed.
Like the Golden Globes weren't real. Ricky Gervais was just talking to an empty room, and we just the Patriots showed it to us through the TVs that there were actors there, but they weren't really. There's never been a Leonardo DiCaprio.
There never has been.
No.
Well, on that note. Next question. There was a question, I think I've seen it posted just a few times, I've missed it.
Okay.
Josh72456 saying,
hey Josh,
I'm posting this a third time, but what is the first film you remember seeing at home or in the cinema?
Oh Jesus,
Jungle Book. I've answered this is like the fourth time I've answered this question, but yeah, it's always Jungle Book. First film I ever remember seeing in the cinema.
I think it was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Nice.
I'm trying to think further back from that, but deep faking right now.
You got deep fakes on your brain.
Deep fakes in the brain.
You got Home Stallone.
Yeah, no, I think it was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Oh, Ninja Turtles, sorry.
Yeah.
In the cinema. In the old Odeon.
Yeah, same.
With the pirate ship.
Yeah.
Beautiful cinema. Glad they...
It's a casino now.
Yeah, glad they kind of took it down. It just... Technology, man.
Yeah.
Technology.
Indeed.
Next question.
Another question. Let's have a quick look. Matt Mitchley wants to know what our favourite Stephen King books are.
Hey, Matt.
I love Christine, and I also loved, is it Skeleton Crew, the one with the mist?
Yeah, that was the short stories, wasn't it?
The short stories, yeah.
Misery is disgusting to read. Shining's awesome. Carrie is awesome.
Also, Dark Tower.
Yeah, I could always read the graphic novels.
I've
always wanted to read the graphic novels of Dark Tower because I just couldn't put myself through another Stephen King book again.
So many people, when I recommend the Dark Tower, they read the first book, The Gunslinger, and they're like, well, that was really short and don't really care. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
No, that would be amazing.
That was written before Stephen King had even penned his first novel.
Actually, favorite that I would like to read and I would like to see turned into a film is, I believe it's called Marathon Man. No, that's something else. It's a film that he wrote under his pseudonym.
Yeah. The Running Man.
Where it's no, it's no, it
was Bachman.
Yeah, but it's a story about a group of boys who are forced by the government to every year run across America.
Yes, yeah.
And just wiki in it, because obviously I've never read it. It could so easily be made into a film.
Oh,
very
yeah.
easily. The Long Walk. Yes,
yeah.
Thank you very much. And it's that's probably one of my all-time favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Go with that one.
Very good. Yeah. We've got a question from Julie Perry Goodwin.
Hey, Julie.
Favorite and least favorite film you have reviewed and why?
Nice.
For me, best film reviews. My favorites was, of course, Aliens, and Blade Runner.
Yes.
You know, out of my favorite films in the world. So
yes.
Yeah, we've reviewed them. They were great.
Boxes. We still have to do the sequel to Blade Runner.
We do. Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. And of course, my least favorite is going to be Jack and Jill, because I had to fucking watch it, review it, and then edit the video. So it's going to be the worst.
My favorite series would have been the Halloween series. That was our first?
That was our first Halloween series. Yeah,
and it just all worked out. My wife had gone away with our son on holiday, and I wasn't able to go because I didn't have a passport. But luckily, I was able to stay home and spend the whole week watching Halloween movies, which I'd never done.
Yeah,
like I'd seen them, but like scattered all over the years, and I had to watch them to review them with Gary that week.
Yeah,
and so like it was easy sitting down, house to myself watching Halloween. Boom. Straight after Halloween 2. Oh my god, it was a great feeling. Straight after that, Halloween 3. Oh yeah. And then it just went all downhill.
Right.
Like it was.
Well,
it was a chore.
Not straight away.
It was a chore. I remember it was like a Wednesday afternoon, I think it was, and we were getting ready to record 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And we still had the Rob Zombie movies to go.
Oh yeah.
And I just wanted to stop. I'd done the first 3 and they were absolutely great, but then, the Curse of Thorn was coming through, and I just laid there on my front room floor.
Right.
Just not caring, just not giving a shit what was going on, because hey, nothing. The house. I've got the house to myself. I'm watching a Halloween movie and it's crap. And then, by the time I got to Busta Rhymes, like I was screaming at my TV. Oh God, Darren! Ah, just do it. It was great. Favorite series, all the time. Least favorite movie. Drive-Through. That was horrible.
Yeah, that was pretty turgid. Turgent.
At the moment, least favorite at the moment.
Yeah.
Drive-Through. Doom. No, Doom was better than Drive-Through.
Doom was fine. Doom was funny.
Yeah.
Sergey Bones.
Hey, Serge.
What are your opinions on the sequel to The Shining, Doctor Sleep? I mentioned it in the last podcast. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed all the performances from all the actors. Really enjoyed the story.
Yeah.
The production values were really good. I'm a big fan of Ewan McGregor anyway. I've got a huge crush on the lady that played the villain in the film. I've forgotten her name for the moment. But she was really good.
What else she been in?
Didn't recognise her from anything else either.
Oh, okay.
That's why her name escapes me.
What's her name, guys? What's the name from the lady in the newest one?
But she was really good, and they just announced an extended director's cut of the film coming out this year. So I'm like, right, I'll watch it again.
Yeah, I still need to watch it, and I'm excited to see the shining moments that they stick in the movie.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more obviously than Shining.
Oh yeah, but it was the fact that Doctor Sleep was announced, and I was just like, oh, I haven't seen The Shining in years. So I went out, bought it on DVD, watched it with the wife, and was like, oh my god, this movie's like one of the greatest films of all time. Like, slap me in the face and tell me I'm wrong, because everything you love about film is portrayed in this one film. Camera work, acting, dialogue, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So then with Doctor Sleep coming, I'm like, I really want to watch it because I want to see the progression of the story.
Sure.
You know?
We've got a question from John Smith.
Hey, John Smith.
First time catching a podcast live. Normally listen to on iTunes.
Nice.
Anyway, question. Have you guys ever watched the TV show Heroes? Yes. Loved the first season.
Yeah.
Watched the first season through, and then just before the second season came out, watched all of the first season through again.
Yep.
Then all of the second season. Obviously, the second season was really wonky, and it's a bit like, not really sure what they're doing with it, but it had a couple of great episodes, and then it went to shit, like real quick.
How many seasons did it go for?
3. Like, 3? I mean, it was during the writer's strike, I think, season 2.
Yeah,
so it was chopped up.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, it's been quite a while now. I can't really remember. But they really, you know, third season, it just was ridiculous. I didn't really care anymore. But I was still like, that Zachary Quinto guy, really good actor.
He could play a good Spock.
He could probably play a really good Spock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't think that. But he was great. And of course, the cheerleader lady.
Oh, God, yeah. For me, I was stuck because the series was advertised for BBC Two. And I didn't have really access to the internet at that point. And so I caught like the first 2 episodes, you know, and it's like, oh, we've got all these people with different powers. I'm like, okay, cool. Cheerleader is indestructible. That's a great concept.
Yeah.
Then I was unable to keep up track with it because obviously TV shows just are terrible over here sometimes. And if something's not doing well, it's shown at different times. It's shown all over the place. And then when I kind of got back into it, the Japanese guy was...
He was...
like the main hero.
Yeah, hero.
Yeah,
he was great. He was really good.
So he was like, there was a whole time travel thing going on, and he was going to save the world, and I was like, man, I really want to sit down and watch it. And then they Game of Thrones it, and I was like, well, okay, thanks a lot, I can be back.
Well, I didn't really Game of Thrones it. There was a writer's strike, and and so the studio was like, we need to keep making episodes because this is really popular, and we have no writers, so the producers just made shit up.
Kind of felt like Lost. What happened to Lost?
Well,
I couldn't. Well, for me, I couldn't keep up
Lost,
with
you
Lost.
can blame the writers again anyway for just going, yeah, we know what we're doing, but we don't.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, if like it felt like a TV series that I was like, oh, I'm waiting for it to blow up and be really good, but it just.
Well, I mean, Heroes did. It was like one of the most talked about TV shows on the planet. You know, it had the potential to be massive. But that writer strike and the fact that the studio insisted on continuing without them killed it. Like, you know, I mean, this was at the same time that Battlestar Galactica, like, the writers went, there's a writer strike? Wow. Fine. Studio, we ain't writing nothing, you ain't making nothing. And so as Battlestar fans, we had to wait, like, a year and a half. Because they made the right decision is to not continue filming when there's a writer strike.
Yeah.
You know? But that writer strike, it decimated so many seasons, and it's just a real shame that Heroes was one of them, because it could have been. It could have been something great. You know, and it was at the forefront of like the wave of superhero stuff.
I think it came out at the same time as X-Men was being released. Yeah,
it was.
Do you think they could bring it back?
Well, they did, and it didn't work. Because we're already in the crux of superhero stuff. Like the CW's got like 6 superhero shows running. Yeah, like Marvel's releasing how many superhero movies a year? You cannot keep up, and that's why Heroes just went. We pushed that boat out and.
See, well, that's what I said. I went.
So it could have done, but it missed its chance at the time. So it's a real shame. A real shame. We've got a question from Emily Stevens.
Hey, Emily.
What's your most anticipated film to be released this year and why? Same couple of questions. Ghostbusters, Bill and Ted, King Kong, God vs. Godzilla, Escape Room 2, Dune. You know, Escape Room 1 wasn't the best film of last year, but...
there were like 2 or 3 escape rooms.
I could watch an escape room every year. Like, I could watch a Cube movie every year.
Jodie Foster was good in that Room movie.
What, Panic Room?
Yeah. What was the Room movie with Tommy Wiseau? No.
The Room.
Yeah, Room. Yeah. There's a Silent Hill game as well.
In the Room. Yeah. Very popular room. I want to put them all in the same room.
1402. That was a room.
Let's have a look. See if we've got any more questions.
Yeah. How are we doing? 3.5 hours. Love you all for sticking with us for 3.5 hours, guys. Boom, boom, fist bump.
Indeed. Nope.
Oh, I might have fun. I think.
Oh, Hypnosilic is asking, have we seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? If so, what are your thoughts? I actually only just watched it last week.
Yeah.
I wanted to, I missed out on it last year. Kept wanting to see it, kept missing my chance to see it, especially with it being a long film as well, and trying to find the time for it. Didn't happen. But I got to watch it last week, and while I was feeling ill, so I was kind of tucked up with a duvet and blanket with a good near 3-hour Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's perfect. Just absolutely spellbound by the whole thing. It's not a big action piece movie. It's just a very somber character piece. But I loved the kind of behind the scenes of Hollywood.
Yeah.
These has-been actors, who were in the limelight that are not anymore.
Yeah.
Just their interactions, the way they're moving around, and it's Tarantino. It's Tarantino actors and Tarantino sets with Tarantino dialogue. If you liked any Tarantino film, you're gonna like this one. It's not my favorite. I think The Hateful Eight is still my favorite.
Nice. Yeah.
But I still enjoyed this. I still just enjoyed the appearances of certain characters. Just like, it's great. DiCaprio, Brad Pitt.
What did you think? I mean, obviously he does an Inglourious Bastards with the story again, doesn't he? He takes like a major.
It's like alternate history, yeah,
and then just kind of flips on its head, which I was very surprised about when I read, and then like I said, I was like, oh, he's done an Inglourious Bastards to it, so it's going to be beautiful and amazing to watch, and the dialogue's going to be great, all the way up to this crazy climactic ending, and then the movie's going to be over, and I'm going to be like, wow, that's 2.5 hours well spent.
Yeah. I mean, literally, when the whole film's finished, and and the camera's just sat there, and the credits are going up, and I'm just like, oh.
Soundtrack,
like, soundtrack's great. Soundtrack's perfect. No, I'm just like, I just want to spend more time. Like, I don't want to go home. Like, I don't want to.
Can't stay here, guy.
I want to see what the next come on. What do they talk about next? Where do they go next? Like, what's his next job like? Yeah, I want to keep going.
That's it.
Yeah.
I got a question. It was on the Facebook page. But it's kind of wrestling oriented, but maybe you can check something in. It's from Jack Hawkins. A controversial question. Do you think the WWE are right in erasing Chris Benoit from their history? Despite them never actually mentioning him directly, his matches are still on the network as well. I think...
I'll let you answer this one, Ian. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, obviously you know the history of what Chris Benoit did, but obviously you watched him wrestle at the same time, and he was
great.
He was great. I think from a company perspective, point of view, they've done the right thing of never directly getting rid of all of his stuff,
right?
Because they still like what we fans have. They still kind of respect what he did in the ring before the tragedy.
Sure.
And there's lots of wrestlers in WWE and other promotions that have done things in their private lives that are really damning, but WWE still doesn't just drop them completely, because hey, you can't get rid of that match at WrestleMania 20 or 22 or 8 or 9 because that guy was in it for 25 minutes. Nobody really remembers. But
Benoit versus Kurt Angle, some great matches.
A couple of weeks ago, I was really wanting to watch something with Eddie Guerrero in.
Sure.
Yeah. And I was flicking through, and it dawned on me he'd never been really on Raw. He was always on SmackDown, but I caught the funeral.
Right.
And so all the wrestlers are out there on the stage. So I was watching this before this question was dropped. And that's why it's funny I brought it up. Because while the camera's going around, Chris Benoit is right there. And they linger on him. And he's in fits of tears. And JR is talking about how they were really close friends. And it's a massive tragedy. And I'm thinking, yeah, you've done well there, WWE. You haven't just deleted this whole segment and got rid of it. Because it would ruin this whole moment. Yeah. But you're not. If you go onto the search engine, you can't type in Chris Benoit. Nothing comes up.
Yeah,
and the search engine's been specified not to give you that stuff. So yeah, they are doing really well by not putting him in the Hall of Fame and not acknowledging him, but at the same time not getting rid of.
Yeah, it sounds about the best thing to do. Is, don't bring any extra light to the situation.
Yes.
At the same time, don't bury it completely because.
Yeah.
You got to acknowledge it happened. You know, it's part of, you know, the people in the world know it happened. And it's easy enough to look it up. But yeah, I think they're doing the best thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what we said with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
With all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's horrible, but you're probably still going to watch Seven at some point.
Yeah. Okay, last couple of questions before we close for the night. We got another question there from the dude.
Hey, dude.
Do you guys think a corporation like Umbrella exists in the real world, experiments and mutating viruses, and would you work for them for a lot of money? Yeah, I'd work for Umbrella. Well, then again, I don't know.
You do look like the Wesker type of guy.
Yeah.
Like you want to lure me into a place and make me fight.
Come to this mansion. I want to run some tests.
Yeah, okay.
Just make sure you come fully armed.
Oh, man. I want to say yes, I believe that there's all that, evil Illuminati, lally kind of evil companies in the background. And yes, I would work for them if I was smart enough to work for them, but knowing my luck, I'd be the janitor.
Right.
I clean for a living, and I was watching. We were watching Warm Bodies, actually, me and Linda, and there's a zombie janitor just mopping the airport, and it immediately made me think of cleaners at the Umbrella facility.
Right.
Like you come into work one day and you get your broom and you.
Oh, somebody spilled that T-virus again.
Oh God, the T-virus all over the place. Who keeps leaving this Beretta and hand attached to it? And like you wouldn't even get nervous, would you? Like you need 7 key cards to get to your work area, and then you clean up, and then you need 7 to get out. But they pay you
Yeah, but when you get into work, they take all of your keys off you. Like, oh, you need that key card number 2. You need the red gemstone.
Yeah.
You need to get it from the tiger statue in the mayor's office.
Yeah. What do you mean? I need to keep a diary, and I need to start writing to my parents. And
even if you feel like you're about to die in the next few seconds, write it in your diary.
I get worried about it when people say oh, I've got this new job, but I have to move to the city.
Right.
I'm like, what? You're working for the company and do they own the city?
Yeah, you know what? Working for Umbrella doesn't seem like the best thing, does it?
No.
Even if it was very well paid.
No.
Almost everyone who's worked for Umbrella is dead.
Except the Stars members.
But, I suppose they worked for Umbrella.
Yeah.
But, I mean, don't the Stars, once survive, they turn Umbrella back... Umbrella's the good guys by the end of Resident Evil 7.
Really? What?
Yeah, because Chris turns up with Umbrella.
Oh,
and
God, yeah.
We're the good guys now.
Yeah, we're the good guys now.
Umbrella's changed from within.
Yeah. I totally forgot about
Yeah.
that.
We had another question from Boss. He's asked it a couple of times. Favorite God-Devil portrayal in movies or series?
I want to say Alanis Morissette.
That's what I was going to say. Alanis Morissette, best God. But no, I'll topple that with Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll topple that with I think it's Graham Chapman in Monty Python. Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it. Get on with it. Very good, very good. Okay, I'll go with I've forgotten his name. Guy from Armageddon, Constantine.
God. I was thinking Constantine as well. When he grabs Keanu Reeves in the back, he's like, "Come here, John. I'm not letting you go."
Yeah.
He just pulls the tar out of his lungs.
But the devil actor in Supernatural is also very, very, very good. Very fun.
Liz Hurley in Bedazzled. She's pretty good as devil.
Yeah. Al Pacino, he was a good devil.
Yeah. We're just spouting off devils now. We're just devils and gods and stuff. I mean, there was that one. I don't know if you've seen it. Is Good Omens?
Yes, Good Omens was fun. Was very fun. It was on Amazon. Yeah.
Martin Sheen and
yes,
guy who played Doctor Who.
Yes. Yeah, that was great. That was the
Robert De Niro was good. Yeah, Al Pacino was good.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Harvey Keitel all playing devils. Different forms of devils.
David Tennant.
David Tennant, yes.
Yeah.
Peter Stormare as well. Yeah,
Peter Stormare. That was the name. That was the name. Yeah. All right. Last question for the evening.
Yeah.
From the dude. Favorite type of zombie? A dead one.
An undead one.
Stealth ninja zombies.
They're the worst. They are the worst. I've got, those ones in Resident Evil 2 at the remake have been real nasty.
Not the crimson head ones.
No, not the running ones. Just the ones in the remake that are just, you turn a corner in the remake game and you can hear the noise. And then they just
trip over something.
They trip over something and their arms come out and they're on you and you can see two of them in the background. I do love the standard shambling zombies because...
It's the George Romero zombie.
Trying to hit... I don't care what people say. I've been playing the on-rail Resident Evil game. Yeah. Trying to hit a zombie as it's shambling left and right is really fucking difficult. So you imagine trying to do that in real life with the fact you have not got just unlimited ammo.
Yeah.
Running zombies, fuck that, I'm dead.
Yeah, same. I ain't getting very far in running zombies. No, that's the end of the world. Yeah. Running zombies is it.
Give my life to so that everyone else can run away.
It depends whether they're zombies that are going to eat you or just bite you and move on. Because in which case, your sacrifice isn't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running zombies. No, fuck you. Give me a username. I have not beat it yet, but I will be back on it Monday.
Will you?
I will. I've done my work. I managed to do all my work, and now I'll be back onto it. But I've got to do my challenges first, obviously. Got to keep my streak going.
Of course.
Finish Resident
Evil 2. Well, on that note, I'm going to bring this podcast to a close. Number 38.
Yes.
And I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's been in the chat and joined us this evening. Of course, an extra special thank you to those that dropped a donation in this evening. So special thank you to DMC Campbell for your donation. Big thank you to the Fractal Curve who said big respect from Philly. Y'all should review Con Air.
Ooh, I think that might go on the list at some point.
Also a big thank you to David Bransky.
What up, David?
Cheers, guys. Love the content. What do we have to do to get some more full video gameplay throughs? Miss those, and thanks.
I am on it as much as I can, obviously balancing it with life and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously trying to balance it with the film reviews and the Gaming Fridays. It's just, it's something I really, really do want to do. But just trying to get through those games. I've got Resident Evil 2 to get through, gameplay through. I got Mad Max. Mad Max is supposed to be on the list at some point.
Right.
I want to finish off Dishonored as well. Yeah.
And lastly, we have one from Zane's. But for some reason, my computer is just hiding his message completely so that I can't see.
Oh, if I know Zane, like I know Zane, it's probably something like, hey guys, how you all doing? I'm rocking it here in Texas. Fist bump all round, see, 2020. It's going to be a great year for chauffeurs. But we can't see the rest. So I can definitely see lots of cool stuff in our future. That's what he's saying.
Awesome. And so with that, I just want to say thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next month with another podcast. Of course, new film reviews on Thursdays, Gaming Fridays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Boom. Fist bumps.